Chapter 1344 Mythical Tier. The Only Lord Talent, Nomological Divine Body. Please continue reading on a chance to answer ordinary questions. The Bodhi Supreme said lazily. Use it. Zhou said without hesitation. This is because Mythical Tier, the only Lord of the 10 Sacred Blessings, is unique. The other 6 Mythical Tier Lord Talents of the only level of the 10 Sacred Blessings have already been occupied by the other lords of the myriad races, so you naturally can't awaken them. Bodhi Supreme answered. Zhou raised his eyebrows. He recalled the Master God tier that the other 6 mythical tiers, and the only Lord Talent belonged to. They were, the God of Death, Thanatos, the Radiant Master God, Hilu, the original Master God tier, Source, the Primordial Dragon, First Venerable, the King of all Gods, Di Huang, and the Chaotic Beast God, Heaven Curse Beast. Zhou quickly sensed that 5 of the 6 Master God tiers had an obvious characteristic. That was, their races all had their own races behind them. The Radiant Angel race was behind the Radiant Master God, Hilu. The original Spirit race behind the original Master God tier Source. The Dragon behind the Primordial Dragon, First Venerable. The Shepherd's God race behind the King of all Gods, Di Huang. The Chaotic Beast God. The Chaos God's race behind the Heaven Curse Beast. When Zhou sensed this, he immediately told Bodhi Supreme. The Bodhi Supreme did not hide anything and said lazily, "You're right. The remaining Lord Talents, and their mythical tier unique level, are actually left behind by these Master God tiers for their races. This can also be considered a benefit for them as the founders of the Lord Talent. It's also tacitly approved by the Supreme Will. From the beginning of the Lord of all Races competition, these mythical tier talents already have their owners. Naturally, you won't be able to obtain them." Zhou frowned, but did not say anything. This was someone else's ability. It was just like how parents would favor their children in school disputes. There was nothing wrong with it. "Who did Your Excellency Thanatos give the Lord Talent to?" Zhou asked curiously. "The Imperial Dark Tribe. This can be considered a top-notch bloodline race in the Netherworld. If we trace the origin of their bloodline, it might even be related to the will of the Netherworld. They obtained Thanatos' mythical tier, the one Lord Talent. Not to mention the other races. Even this divine being of Thanatos has no objections." Bodhi Supreme said. Zhou nodded. "In that case, if I still want to obtain these 6 Lord Talents of the 10 Sacred Blessings, I can only kill them before they drop?" He stroked his chin and thought. "This is indeed the easiest method for you," Bodhi Supreme said. Zhou nodded. Then, he suddenly had an idea. Wasn't there the Radiant Angel race in the active universe? He wondered if the mythical tier Lord Talent was among them. If it was, he would have a high chance of obtaining the other party's Lord Talent. Then, he stopped thinking about it and returned his gaze to the new mythical tier Lord Talent. This Lord Talent was originally a Diamond tier Lord Talent, Connate Spirit Body. The effect was that he and the subjects under him all had Connate Spirit Bodies. Their potential increased by a large level, and they also had other magical uses to assist in cultivation. Perhaps he had been thinking about the subject's lowest potential for the past 2 days. So the Lord Talent he had awakened today had become the only version of the Connate Spirit Bodhis mythical tier. Lord Talent, Divine Body of Laws, mythical tier, unique. Divine Body of Laws, specific Lord Talent effect 1. You and your territory's subject constitution are both law divine bodies. Your potential has increased by 2 major levels. The highest you can reach is Master God tier advanced grade. Specific Lord Talent effect 2. The lowest strength of you and the subjects under you is White Silver tier elementary grade. Specific Lord Talent effect 3. It is easier for you and the subjects under you to comprehend the power of extraordinary tier and become extraordinary tier professionals. Specific Lord Talent effect 4. It's easier for you and the subjects under you to comprehend laws, create new skills, and even create law skills. Specific Lord Talent effect 5. When you and the subjects under you advance to the God Spirit realm, your success rate will increase by 30%. When you advance to the True God tier, your success rate will increase by 5%. When you advance to the Master God tier, your success rate will increase by 0.1%. After reading it, Zhou took a deep breath. Good God! Zhou took a deep breath after reading it. First of all, the First Lord talent was the constitution of the subjects under he and him. Their potential would enhance by 2 major levels, and the highest they could reach was the Master God tier advanced grade. There were already countless subjects under him. There were already as many soldiers as the 7 capital units, not to mention the other professionals and the non-professionals. There should be at least 100 capital units. The potential of the capital unit's subjects had increased by 2 levels. This meant that even a subject with the lowest potential at the Black Iron tier elementary grade would reach the White Silver tier elementary grade with the nomological divine body. Including other methods to enhance his potential, the weakest subject under him was an extraordinary tier elementary grade. That was the potential of an extraordinary tier elementary grade. He would definitely be in existence at the level of the kingdom's high officials, as long as he did not fall in the future. In other words, all the subjects under him now had the potential to be consecrated by the kingdom. Second effect. Let the lowest strength of the subjects under his command be White Silver tier elementary grade. This effect was obviously very powerful, but Zhou was not very surprised. This was because among the myriad races in the world, there were many races with high bloodlines. Their strength and realm at birth were indeed much higher than other races. For example, the weakest pure-blooded dragon was at least at the green bronze tier elementary grade. For example, when Nazario was just born, his strength had reached green bronze tier advanced grade. This aptitude was already considered above average among the dragons. As for the dragons, apart from the legendary dragons, the yellow-gold sacred dragon, who had the highest bloodline, was born with a minimum strength of diamond tier elementary grade. Among the other races, there were also many races. Their strength at birth was already higher than the peak of many weak races. However, even so, the lowest initial strength of a lower-level White Silver tier was considered rare among the myriad races. It was even enough to be ranked in the top 50. At the very least, it was stronger than the dragon race. From now on, none of the subjects under he would be weak. When danger came, Zhou could even choose to turn the entire population into soldiers and let all the subjects rely on their extraordinary tier powers to fight. Of course, unless it was a true crisis, he wouldn't do that. As for the third effect of the Lord talent, comprehend the power of extraordinary tier and become an extraordinary tier professionals. This effect seemed inconspicuous, but it was an ability that many lords yearned for. Not every lord had a huge number of recruitment books and class change certificates like Zhou after all. Most of the extraordinary tier soldiers under the lords who had mastered extraordinary tier power were obtained through years of cultivation. It was not easy. If their lords had this talent effect, their power would enhance by at least 1,000 or 10,000 times with the accumulation of time. Chapter 1345 10 Capital Unit Soldiers. Please continue reading on. As for the fourth effect, it was easier to comprehend skills, or even law skills. This was similar to the benefits of the previous talent ability. It could help the Lord save a large number of skill books and greatly increase the combat power of the subjects. If one could comprehend law skills, it would be equivalent to having a ticket to the God Spirit realm or higher. There was a high possibility of advancing to the God Spirit realm, as well as the higher True God tier and Master God tier realms. As for the last effect, it naturally did not need to be said to increase the success rate of advancing to God Spirit, True God tier, or even Master God tier. This effect was enough to make any life form, or even God Spirit envious. If Zhou was willing to publicize this talent effect, it was guaranteed that countless God spirits would come to join his territory. The current prerequisite was that they weren't afraid of enemies like the original spirit race who were his enemies. I can try to make it public and increase the probability of God spirits from the outside world coming to join me, Zhou thought. Then, he did whatever he wanted to do. He immediately told Zheng Yuanqi about this matter and got him to publicize this news to the Supreme Continent and even the myriad worlds. Then, Zhou closed the Lord Talent interface and flew out of the palace to Mugu. At this moment, Wu Xian had already led his army into the Scarlet Brood Mother and was hunting the nest monsters inside. When Zhou Zhou saw this, he chatted with Mu Gu while drinking tea. A moment later, a golden stream of light flew out of the Scarlet Brood Mother and landed on the ground, transforming into Wu Xin's figure. "Greetings, Your Majesty." When Wu Xian saw Zhou Zhou, he immediately said respectfully, "It's been hard on Legion Commander Wu Xian." Zhou Zhou nodded and asked expectantly, "How's the harvest?" "Your Majesty, please take a look." Wu Xian excitedly took out 3 world rings. Zhou Zhou took it and immediately looked at the spoils of war. One of the world rings contained a large number of iron-eating bear pet eggs, tree core gems, and other loots. Among the other 2 world rings, one contained 8,000 trillion copies of the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier recruitment books and 8,000 trillion copies of the Violent Storm Spirit recruitment books. The other world ring contained 8,000 trillion copies of the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier Class Change Certificate and 8,000 trillion copies of the Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate. Zhou Zhou took a deep breath and could not help but reveal an excited expression. This was a total of 2 capital unit soldiers. He only had 7. 4 capital unit soldiers now. This recruitment directly recruited more than half of his total military strength. After the recruitment, his soldiers would directly break through the 10 capital units. It was simply terrifying. This isn't even the Scarlet Brood Mother's limit. This is only the Scarlet Brood Mother of a high-tier deity level advanced grade. It's hard to imagine how many troops he will recruit every day after the Scarlet Brood Mother becomes a Master God tier advanced grade. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. Then, he looked at Wu Xian and said, "Legion Commander Wu, as usual, you should go to the reserve recruits. Pick out the 6 capital units reserve recruits and change their profession to the Violent Storm Spirit and the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier. Then lead the Violent Storm Spirit to change their profession to a Forbidden Mage. This Emperor will go to the Gate of Summoning to recruit new recruits." Zhou Zhou said, "I understand." Wu Xian immediately nodded. These were 6 capital units recruits. Just thinking about it made him excited. "By the way, do we have enough reserve recruits?" Zhou Zhou asked. He was really afraid that he had too many class change certificates, and that the reserve recruits under him would not be able to use them all. "Don't worry, Your Majesty. If it was before, it might not have been enough. However, ever since we turned all the Titan God race subjects and their affiliated races into our Empire's subjects, the number of reserve recruits recorded in our records has already reached 100 capital units. And the number is still increasing. By the way, Your Majesty, the Skeleton Clan has already been defeated by us. Now is the time when the Skeleton Clan is at its weakest. If we can completely subdue the Skeleton Tribe and their subsidiary subjects and convert them into our Empire's subjects, we will record at least as many reserve recruits as the capital units." Wu Xian smiled faintly and said, "At that time, let alone capital 3. 2. We can easily gather 32 capital units, 320 capital units, and 3,200 capital units." The skeleton race was known as one of the races with the most people in the myriad worlds. If the other party could become a citizen of the Blazing Sun Empire, the Blazing Sun Empire would no longer have to worry about the problem of recruiting sources. "You're right. Then let the soldiers under you be prepared. Take down the entire skeleton race within 3 days, and make the skeleton race a race that belongs to our Blazing Sun Empire. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy." Wu Xian was right. The main force of the skeleton race had already been wiped out in the active universe. Without the support of those Master God tiers, the skeleton race in the Great Cosmos only had the Skeleton Emperor as their Master God tier. It could be said that the entire skeleton race was at their weakest and easiest to take down. All the races in the world would probably covet the skeleton race, a high-level bloodline race. As the instigator of all this, Zhou Zhou naturally would not give up the results he had created. He would be the skeleton race's only master, since he was the one who defeated them. Just as Wu Xian had said, after the countless people of the skeleton tribe submitted, they would become his strongest source of troops for conquering the myriad races in the future. Zhou could not refuse such temptation. "Yes, Your Majesty," Wuxian said respectfully. Zhou nodded. Then, he did not waste any more time. He immediately transformed into a golden stream of light and flew out of the Divine Kingdom world. When Wuxian saw this, he quickly left Mugu and headed to the camp where the reserve recruits were. In front of the Gate of Summoning, Zhou looked at the towering Gate of Summoning in front of him. With a wave of his hand, he threw all the 1-6 capital units recruitment books in the world rings into the Gate of Summoning. Zhou skillfully called over a Cosmos Emperor when he saw this. Then, he threw 100 mid-tier deity-level advanced grade divine crystals into the Gate of Summoning, summoned all 512 trillion new recruits, and placed them in the Cosmos Emperor's internal world. He said a few simple words to these recruits, then inquired Zero to bring these recruits to the Forbidden Archmage statue to change their profession to Forbidden Mages. Then, he spent another 100 high-tier deity-level advanced grade divine crystals to summon today's new subject. In the end, he summoned a total of 99,999,999 new subjects. Among them were 12 high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits. Zhou was stunned when he saw this number. This is really a coincidence. I'm just one person short of 100 million subjects. Then, he smiled and didn't mind. Instead, he spent another 100 high-tier deity-level advanced grade divine crystals to summon another 66,666,666 pure-blooded dragons from the Gate of Summoning and let them descend into the inner world of another Cosmos Emperor. I didn't summon a legendary dragon. Zhou looked at the 60 billion pure-blooded dragons and shook his head in pity. However, he soon didn't care. It's my fortune to have it, but it's my fate to lose it. Then, he came to the Lord's shop and took a look at what goods there were today. In the end, what made he helpless was that the Lord's shop only spawned 1 Master God tier divine artifact and 2 true God tier divine artifacts today. If other Master God tier saw this kind of commodity, they would definitely be overjoyed. However, to Zhou, he couldn't be moved. However, he still took out some Master God tier divine crystals and bought the 3 items. Then, he called Qi Xintian over. "Greetings, Your Majesty." Qi Xintian uttered respectfully. "Organize the army and prepare to head to the ruins of chaos." Zhou uttered in a low voice. "Yes, Your Majesty." Chapter 1346 Chaos God's Race. Roaring Towards the Sky. Please continue reading on. Zhou now had a total of 10 capital units, 6,529,830,000, 6,219 soldiers, 26,876,547 god spirits, 9,289 true god tiers, and 6 lord gods, excluding Zhou, the 5 clones, Terrence, and the other 4 master god tiers. Other than sending a portion of the army to the Cerulean planet, Zhou planned to only lead the army of the 5 capital units, 10 million god spirits, 5,000 true god tiers, Zhou, Pangu, Blood Moon Sun, and Kitotali. As for the other soldiers and god spirits, he planned to stay in the High Continent in case of emergencies. The god spirits and soldiers soon boarded a Master God tier elementary grade eternal warship and headed for the ruins of chaos. On the way to the primal chaos ruins, Yingning was looking at the dark universe outside with a dazed expression. "Why?" Zhou Wen's gentle voice sounded behind her. "Your Majesty, it's nothing. I just miss my hometown a little. I wonder how my family and clansmen are doing. Are they doing well? The chaos beasts have been hunting us chaos humans at the periphery of the chaos ruins. When we return this time, we will probably lose a few friends I know." Yingning turned around hurriedly and replied respectfully, her voice a little depressed. Regardless of whether they were doing well in the past, this emperor can definitely bring them a better life than before now that this emperor is here. Zhou Wen said with a faint smile. His voice was filled with indifference and boundless confidence. "I believe in Your Majesty." Yingning nodded vigorously. The god spirits of other empires and her saw how powerful the Blazing Sun Empire was. Even the insufferably arrogant Titan God race had been defeated by His Majesty. Even though the Chaos God's race was much stronger than the Titan God race, they did not want to fight the Titan God race head-on. They only wanted to save the Chaos human race in the Chaos ruins. There was a high chance that the Chaos God's race would not mobilize their entire army to deal with the Blazing Sun Empire. Under such circumstances, they still had a certain level of confidence in dealing with the Chaos God's race. The chaotic ruins was located in the crystal wall of the Supreme Great Cosmos and was extremely far from the High Continent. Even if a Master God tier wanted to rush to the ruins of chaos, it would take a long time to arrive. Fortunately, their Master God level elementary grade spaceship, the Eternal Warship, was very good at long-distance marches. In addition, with Zhou's support from the side, even though the ruins of chaos was very far from the High Continent, they only took a day to reach it. Outside the primal chaos ruins, Zhou and the soldiers floated outside the spaceship and looked at the primal chaos ruins a light year away. He saw an incomplete continent wrapped in dense chaotic airflow floating in the void of the universe. Numerous Chaos God's race beings, such as the Vermilion Bird, Ghost Chariot, 9 Neonates, Sealing Boar, Justice Beast, Spreadhead, Tiger Headman, Yellow Stead Winged Tiger, Mystic Lion and so on, rode on the Chaos God's race battleships and shuttled through the chaotic airflow as if they were patrolling. At the same time, they were also diverting their attention to control Master God tier level array formations that enveloped this incomplete continent. It looked like they were imprisoning something. So this is the Primal Chaos Ruins. It was originally a part of the Chaos Humans' residence, and also a part of the Chaos Sea. Later on, the Chaos will perished. As a direct descendant of the Chaos we were besieged by thousands of races. Among the races that were besieged, the Chaos God's race was the strongest race. Back then, our Chaos human race relied on our race's heritage to monopolize the myriad races, and persisted for a period of time. However, our era had already passed. In the end, we were still surrounded and killed by the myriad races led by the Chaos Beasts. Almost none of our clansmen were left. Our residence, the Chaos Sea, was also occupied by the Chaos Beasts, allowing them to complete the unification of the Chaos Sea. Our ancestors risked their lives to barely tear apart a portion of the residence, and brought this portion of the residence here to take refuge. This is the origin of the Primal Chaos Ruins. Yingning looked at her hometown, and dejectedly revealed its origins. The generals and god spirits were enlightened. No wonder the Primal Chaos Ruins looked like a post-war ruin. Come on, Zhou said. Yes, Your Majesty. The generals received the order respectfully, and immediately flew towards the Primal Chaos Ruins. Just as they were about to approach the Primal Chaos Ruins, a cold shout suddenly sounded from afar. Where did this Lord faction that doesn't know the rules come from? Don't you know that this is the forbidden land of our Chaos God's race? The god spirit who spoke also led a team of Chaos God's race soldiers to the front of the Eternal Warship. Zhou and the others looked over. The other party was about 10 million kilometers long and golden all over. It looked like a dragon and a dog at the same time. The most shocking thing was that the other party actually emitted the aura of a Master God tier level. The guardian of the Primal Chaos Ruins was a Master God. It's a Master God tier elementary grade roaring towards the Sky Beast. The Blood Moon Sun had a solemn expression. Chaos God beasts like roaring towards the sky were rare even in the Chaos God's race. The roaring towards the sky's combat strength was also shocking even if they were of the same level. It even had the habit of eating dragon brains. In the myriad worlds, there was a saying that each roaring towards the sky could take on 3 dragons. It could be seen how shocking the other party's combat strength was. As for the other Chaos God's race beings behind the other party, there were about 100 of them. Among them, there were more than 10 true God-tier Chaos God's race beings. The weakest among them was a god spirit at the low-tier deity level elementary grade. Yingning couldn't hold it in anymore. She looked at it coldly and spoke before Zhou could. I only remember that this has been the territory of the Chaos human race since ancient times. When did it become the territory of your Chaos beast race? The roaring towards the sky glanced at Yingning when it heard this. Then, Its eyes suddenly shone with a blood-red light. I was wondering who had the guts to speak to me like that. So it's a remnant of the chaotic human race. So what if you escape? How dare you come back? The roaring towards the sky laughed sinisterly and opened its mouth to swallow Ying Ning. His mouth was filled with sharp fangs as he appeared behind Ying Ning mysteriously, intending to devour her whole. It could tell that Ying Ning already had the strength of true God tier advanced grade, and was only a step away from becoming a master God tier. There was even a trace of the aura of will on her body. It was naturally unable to allow such a chaos human to continue advancing. That was why it had immediately killed the other party the moment it discovered its identity. However, at this moment, a faint voice sounded. You attacked this emperor's people in front of this emperor. Your dog face deserves a beating. Zhou Wen waved his hand casually. In the next second, a 9-colored palm appeared mysteriously in front of the roaring towards the sky. Its face was slapped ruthlessly and 2 dog teeth were also knocked out. Chapter 1347 The smart roaring towards the sky. The roaring towards the sky was stunned when it was suddenly slapped in the face. It subconsciously retracted the nomological skills it had released, allowing Ying Ning to survive. However, it flew into a rage. It was a powerful expert of the Chaos God's race. It had actually been slapped. It had lived for countless years, but this was the first time it had suffered such humiliation. You deserve to die. The roaring towards the sky said angrily. Then it rushed towards Zhou Wen. Zhou Wen just looked at it quietly without even blinking. In the next moment, a blood-colored figure appeared in front of the roaring towards the sky. It was the Blood Moon Sun. You want to attack His Majesty? Look at yourself. The Blood Moon Sun said coldly. His Majesty was a top-notch Master God tier combat powerhouse, who could arm wrestle with the 10 Master Gods. Even though the roaring towards the sky was a Chaos Divine Beast, it was only a low-level Master God tier elementary grade God Spirit. How was it qualified to fight with His Majesty? It was enough for him to deal with such a Master God tier trash. A newly promoted Master God tier dares to stand in front of me? The roaring towards the sky had sharp eyes, and could tell the background of the new Master God tier of the Blood Moon Sun at a glance. It immediately looked down on the Blood Moon Sun even more. Even though it was also a Master God tier elementary grade God Spirit, it had been in this realm for nearly 500,000 years. After 500,000 years of accumulation, it had the courage to fight even against Master God tier intermediate grade experts. Not to mention this little guy who had just become a Master God tier a few days ago. At this moment, it was even confident that it could kill this enemy Master God tier in an instant. However, in the next second, the Blood Moon Sun took out a blood-colored bamboo cane. He raised the blood-colored bamboo cane high. Immediately after, a blood-colored full moon appeared above Blood Moon Sun's head. In the next second, the blood-colored full moon suddenly shot out a beam of light that charged straight at the roaring towards the sky. It pierced through its chest before it could even react. Boom! After the roaring towards the sky was knocked back a light year, it suddenly spat out a mouthful of divine blood. Its face was pale as it felt its severely injured divine body. It lowered its head and looked at the empty hole in its chest in disbelief. Then, it looked up at the blood-colored bamboo cane in the Blood Moon Sun's hand with wide eyes. It gritted its teeth and said word by word, Master God tier divine artifact. How does my Master God tier elementary grade divine artifact, Red Moon Sacred Staff, taste? The Blood Moon Sun looked at it with a faint smile. Who are you people? This is the territory of our Chaos God's race. Are you sure you want to provoke our Chaos God's race? After the Blood Moon Sun used the Master God tier divine artifact, the roaring towards the sky's attitude immediately changed drastically. A faction that possessed a Master God tier divine artifact was at the very least a high-level bloodline faction. Even though such a faction was still inferior to the Chaos God's race, they could at least treat them as equals. The Blood Moon Sun turned to look at Zhou Wen. He saw that Zhou Wen's expression was indifferent, as if he did not care much. The Blood Moon Sun understood when he saw this. So what if I tell you? We are the Blazing Sun Empire that you high-level and top-level bloodline races yearn for day and night. Surrender obediently and don't resist. Otherwise, Don't blame us for not knowing our limits when we attack later. The Blood Moon Sun shouted. Pangu and Kitotali also stood up and looked down at the roaring towards the sky calmly. When the roaring towards the sky heard the Blazing Sun Empire's name, it was at a loss for a few seconds. Then it suddenly thought of something, and its expression changed. Blazing Sun Empire? You guys are actually so strong. It had previously received news from its race that a very powerful lord of all races had appeared among the lords of all races, who was ranked first among the lords of all races. However, it didn't really care. This was because the primal chaos ruins it was in was located at the edge of the supreme great cosmos. The starry sky here was vast, but there were not many civilizations or life forms. It could be said to be very remote. As time passed, the roaring towards the sky, and the other chaos gods race being stationed here, gradually stopped paying attention to the news from the outside world. They only focused on cultivating laws and completing their hunting missions every day. Furthermore, so what if he was temporarily ranked first among the lords of the myriad races? It was extremely confident in its race. Even if the first lord was temporarily occupied by other races, it believed that the lords of all races of the chaos gods could defeat the leader again and take first place. However, it never expected this. The so-called number one lord was actually so powerful. Not only did he have a master god tier, but he also had a master god tier divine artifact. And it looked like he had more than one. What was the lord on their side still King fighting for? The roaring towards the sky was at a loss. How did a lord of all races develop to such a formidable level in such a short period of time? Was this still the supreme great cosmos that it was familiar with? However, it heard what the other party said. Its expression was uncertain. Finally, it exhaled and said in a deep voice, "I surrender." Shock flashed across the Blood Moon Sun, Pangu and Kitotala's faces. Even Zhou Wen was a little surprised. You really want to surrender? Pangu asked. Why not? Otherwise I would be fighting to the death with you for the so-called race's honor, then be ganged up on and killed by you, and finally engraved on a monument by my people for them to remember? The roaring towards the sky sneered. As Master God tier experts, we can't be destroyed even if our races are destroyed. I'm not a fool. I won't die for nothing. First, announce that you want to join the Blazing Sun Empire and become a subject of the Blazing Sun Empire. Only then can we truly believe you. Pangu was silent for a few seconds before saying in a low voice. Before coming, Zhou had chatted with Pangu for a long time and told him a portion of the secrets behind the territory's loyalty. For example, as long as one joined the Blazing Sun Empire, regardless of whether this person was loyal or evil in the past, he would be a trustworthy companion after joining. He believed that Zhou wouldn't lie to him, even though he didn't understand the mechanics behind it. That was why he said that. Isn't it only a contract or something? The roaring towards the sky muttered. Even though it was unwilling, its life and death were in the hands of others after all. Therefore, it obediently followed Pangu's instructions and said that it wanted to join the Blazing Sun Empire. After saying that, its expression changed slightly. When it gazed at Zhou behind Pangu, it immediately stated respectfully, roaring towards the sky, Deng Long greets your majesty. Zhou Wen acknowledged and said, Can you control all the Chaos God's race beings near the primal chaos ruins? Yes, your majesty. The strongest is only the true God-tier Chaos God's race. To me, I can suppress them with a flip of my hand. Furthermore, they are all my trusted aides. They will basically listen to what I say. The roaring towards the sky stated respectfully, That's good. You must have other motives for joining our Blazing Sun Empire, right? Zhou Wen suddenly asked. I was actually punished to this extent by Source, so I have long held a grudge against the Chaos God's race. If I join your majesty, I will be able to vent my anger when I fight against the Chaos God's race in the future. The gods were enlightened. Start recruiting your subordinates. Zhou Wen said, Yes, your majesty. Chapter 1348. Zhou Wen's request with the help of roaring towards the sky Master God tier. The Chaos God hunting team that besieged the primal chaos ruins quickly surrendered to Zhou Wen and joined the Blazing Sun Empire. Zhou Wen and the generals did not expect this. The greatest obstacle preventing them from saving the Chaos Humans, the Chaos Gods hunting team, had actually surrendered to them so easily. They thought that they would at least have to fight the other party to make them recognize reality and surrender. It could only be said that this was the benefit of being powerful. With enough strength, even if he didn't do it himself, he could subdue others without fighting and let victory easily reach his hands. Among the generals, Ying Ning was naturally the most shocked. As a chaos human who had escaped from the primal chaos ruins, he knew better than anyone how terrifying the chaos beasts that guarded the primal chaos ruins and hunted the chaos humans were. But such a terrifying team actually took the initiative to surrender in such a short time when facing him? I was right to choose to join His Majesty. In the myriad worlds, only His Majesty can save the chaos humans. He thought silently. At the same time, he looked at Zhou Zhou with an increasingly dazzling gaze. There was even a hint of love that he didn't notice. Reporting to Your Majesty, all the Chaos Gods race members are already here. Other than me, there are a total of 132 Chaos Gods race true God tiers, and 3,521 Chaos God race God spirits. The roaring towards the sky said respectfully, TSK, your Chaos Gods race really values the Chaos human race. When Zhou Wen heard the other party's words, he could not help but click his tongue in wonder. The roaring towards the sky smiled awkwardly, and did not dare to say anything else. He could naturally tell that His Majesty also had the bloodline of the Chaos humans, so he naturally did not dare to speak ill of the Chaos humans in front of His Majesty. Zhou Wen didn't mind, and turned to look at Ying Ning. Bring us to the headquarters of the Chaos humans. This emperor has something to discuss with the patriarch of the Chaos people. Let him do this emperor a favor. Yes, Your Majesty, Ying Ning said respectfully. Then he saw he cut open the skin on his arm and draw out the chaotic blood. Then, he used the blood to cast a mystic technique. Then, he saw the chaotic blood suddenly boil and evaporate into countless blood-colored steam. Finally, he saw the blood-colored steam condense into a blood-colored fog line that extended into the depths of the primal chaos ruins. So you need a bloodline mystic technique to find the secret base of the chaos humans. No wonder I couldn't find it before. The roaring towards the sky muttered after seeing this scene. The others rolled their eyes at it when they heard that. Then, Zhou Wen and the others followed the blood-colored fog line, and finally arrived in front of an illusory door that emitted a chaotic light. Ying Ning pushed open the door, and a silver light suddenly emitted from inside, illuminating the soldiers. Then, a strange feeling of space change appeared around Zhou Wen and the others. Zhou Wen and the others did not resist either. Then they felt their vision turn black. When the light lit up again, they realized that they had arrived at a vast continent with tall and lush trees that were filled with a barbaric aura. Follow me. Ying Ning had just returned to her hometown when her expression became excited and nervous. She turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the southeast of the continent after saying that. Seeing this, Zhou Wen and the others followed. Soon they arrived in front of a tribe. This tribe was very primitive, and there were two tall and strong men standing at the entrance. Zhou Zhou's eyes narrowed. He realized that they were the chaos humans with low-tier deity-level elementary grade strength. Big Brother Wuxia, Big Brother Rongyao embark. When Ying Ning saw the two of them, she could not help but rush over excitedly. It's Ying Ning. Ying Ning is back. When Wuxia and Rongyao saw Ying Ning, they were stunned for a moment before they immediately became excited. Ying Ning was the daughter of the Chaos Humans tribe's patriarch, so most people in the clan knew her. A moment later, in the central room of the Chaos Humans tribe, Zhou Wen and Haze of Chaos sat opposite each other. On Zhou Wen's left were Pangu and the others, and on his right were the warriors of the Chaos Humans tribe. Zhou Wen glanced at the warriors of the Chaos Humans tribe. The weakest of these warriors was at the low-tier deity-level elementary grade, while the strongest was at the true god-tier intermediate grade. They were not bad, but they weren't enough in his eyes. Patriarch should have heard the purpose of this emperor's visit. This emperor will simply repeat it again. This emperor can bring you guys out of here and live in this emperor's empire. This emperor can guarantee that as long as you guys become this emperor's subjects, the Chaos God's race will definitely not harm you guys in the slightest. You guys can live uprightly on the Supreme Continent and no longer have to hide here and there like in the Primal Chaos ruins. It's fine if the Patriarch is unwilling, but this emperor wants to buy some Chaos magic stones from you. This emperor can use divine crystals or divine artifacts to buy them. I hope Patriarch can make things easier for me, Zhou Wen said slowly. Patriarch Haze of Chaos looked at Zhou Wen, and then at Pengu, the Blood Moon Sun, and Kitotali beside him. He smiled bitterly. With such a formation, did they still have a choice? They had a total of 3 Master God tier experts on their side. There was also a lord whose strength was unknown, but who could bring him an extremely high sense of danger. As for the Chaos humans, after the death of the Chaos Will, their main god-level experts had already perished. The strongest remaining Chaos humans stationed in the Primal Chaos ruins were only him, a true god-tier advanced grade expert. The difference in their peak combat strength was extraordinary. At this thought, Haze of Chaos stood up and cupped his fists at Zhou. We Chaos humans are willing to join His Majesty's empire and become one of His Majesty's subjects. I have no other requests. I only hope that Your Majesty can treat the members of the Chaos human folk well. Of course. Zhou Wen nodded seriously. They were all his clansmen, and they were from Ying Ning's hometown. There was no reason for him not to take care of them. Seeing Zhou Wen nod, Haze of Chaos heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you, Your Majesty, he stated respectfully. The surrounding Chaos humans were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. In the blink of an eye, he had become the other party's subject and the lord above them? However, they quickly reacted and hurriedly stated respectfully to Zhou. Greetings, Your Majesty. We're all on the same side. This emperor will take good care of you in the future. Zhou Wen smiled and said, Oh yes, the Chaos deity's lineage stationed at the periphery of the Primal Chaos ruins has been defeated and subdued by us. You can leave this place now, and don't have to worry about encountering danger. Really? Haze of Chaos? And the rest immediately stood up in surprise. Chapter 1349, Tao Worship Peak. Of course I'm serious. Zhou Wen nodded. Then, he waved his right hand, and the roaring towards the sky and company appeared behind him, out of thin air. They looked at the scene in front of them in shock. Their gazes swept over Zhou Wen, Haze of Chaos, and the others. Realization quickly flashed across their eyes as they guessed what had happened. Greetings, Your Majesty. The roaring towards the sky said respectfully. Zhou Wen nodded and smiled at Haze of Chaos. See it. His Majesty is really powerful. He actually tamed them into submission. Thank you for your help, Your Majesty. In the future, we don't have to worry about being killed by the Chaos beasts when we go out. A Chaos Humana said excitedly before. He looked at the roaring towards the sky with hatred. Zhou Wen frowned slightly when he saw this, but then he relaxed. The hatred between them could be resolved by themselves. Even though he was a Chaos human, he only had the Chaos human bloodline. He did not receive any favors from the Chaos humans. On the contrary, the Chaos humans received more favors from him. In the face of the conflict between his subjects, he had already done his best to not help either side. Anyway, he had mastered the method of resurrection, so he was not afraid that they would kill too ruthlessly. How many Chaos magic stones do you have? Zhou Wen stopped thinking and asked. The Chaos magic stone came from a unique creature called the Chaos creature in the Primal Chaos ruins. There was a 20% chance of dropping Chaos magic stones after killing the Chaos elemental creature. Its function was to be used as a core material to construct the Chaos sacrificial ceremony, like the Mist core. It was Zhou Wen's first time in the Primal Chaos ruins. He could not be bothered to search the entire Primal Chaos ruins for Chaos magic stones, so he decided to buy them from the Chaos humans. They had lived here for countless years, so they should have plenty of Chaos magic stones after all. Your Majesty, the Chaos magic stones can assist our cultivation, so we don't have much left. We only have about 16,000 left. Haze of Chaos looked at Zhou Wen nervously. Your Majesty, is this enough? Zhou Wen could tell that the other party was not lying. He smiled and nodded. It's more than enough. The chaos ceremony that Bodhi Supreme had given him only required 8 chaos magic stones to be used once. More than 16,000 chaos magic stones were enough for him to summon chaos god fiends more than 2,000 times. That's good. Haze of Chaos heaved a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that he would not be able to complete the first mission that His Majesty had given him. Then, without any hesitation, he untied the world pocket at his waist, removed his ownership, and handed it to Zhou Wen. Zhou Wen took it and entered it with his spiritual will. He saw that other than the 16,000 chaos magic stones that emitted chaotic light, there were other messy things like true god-tier divine artifacts, mist core, medicinal herbs, minerals, and so on. Zhou Wen used the first treasury to collect all the chaos magic stones, and casually threw in 3 mist cores and divine crystals the size of mountains. Then, he threw the pocket of the world back to Haze of Chaos. Haze of Chaos was stunned. He subconsciously looked at his world pocket and was stunned by the mist core and divine crystals that were the size of 3 mountains. He looked at Zhou Wen with a grateful expression. Just as he was about to say something, he saw Zhou Wen wave his hand. Since you have become this emperor's subjects, take this as a small benefit from this emperor. Work hard for this emperor's empire in the future. You won't be short of benefits. Even if the chaos humans develop to their peak, or even surpass their peak, it's not impossible. He said, Yes, Your Majesty. We will die for Your Majesty. Haze of Chaos was the first to swear. When the other chaos humans saw this, even though they did not understand what had happened, they did the same thing as Haze of Chaos, out of their trust and respect for the patriarch. Zhou Wen calmly accepted the actions of the chaos humans. Then, he asked, How many people are there in the chaos human race? How many god spints and true god tiers are there? Reporting to Your Majesty, currently, our chaos human race still has 13,253 people. Among them are 12,210 god spirits and 1,043 true god tiers. Haze of Chaos respectfully said, Are they all god spirits? Zhou Wen was a little surprised. If you're not a god spirit, you can't survive here at all. Actually, when we first came here, we didn't only have these clansmen. However, the chaos humans who are weaker than the god spirits are unable to escape their pursuit. Soon they are all dead. Even a portion of the god spirits and true god tier have died. Furthermore, because they set up an array that forbids fertility, we haven't even had a newborn all these years. Haze of Chaos pointed at the roaring towards the sky. Roaring towards the sky immediately looked up at the sky. Zhou Wen's lips twitched. Good lord, they even created such a vicious array formation that prohibited fertility. How ruthless. All the formations have just been removed. When you return to the Empire with us, you can take the Primal Chaos Ruins with you. After the Primal Chaos Ruins dispels those bad aspects, the environment is actually not bad. The chaotic airflow is very abundant. It's very suitable for chaos humans to cultivate. Zhou looked at the dense chaotic airflow in the sky. He could sense that these air currents had consciously fused into his divine body in an attempt to make him stronger. His divine body had already been upgraded by the Supreme Sacred Body to the pinnacle of the true God tier advanced grade. These chaotic airflows could no longer make his divine body stronger. However, it was useless to him. It was still very useful to chaos humans below the true God tier level. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was a holy land for cultivation. Furthermore, if he took the primal chaos ruins away, he wouldn't have to rush all the way here when he was going to grind chaos demon gods in the future. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Yes, Your Majesty. After I leave, I will take the primal chaos ruins away. Haze of Chaos said. In fact, he originally had the intention to do so, but he didn't expect His Majesty to say it in advance. His Majesty is indeed worthy of being the possessor of our chaos human bloodline. He is indeed thinking for the chaos humans. Come on. Let's go to the Tao Worship Peak. Zhou Wen stood up and flew out. Haze of Chaos, Pengu, and the others hurriedly flew over to catch up. The Tao Worship Peak was a floating mountain peak floating above the primal chaos ruins. It was nearly 1,000 light-years above sea level, and its entire body was chaotic. Chaotic halos emitted from its surroundings, and the area it looked at was deep and mysterious. About a light-year away from the Tao worship peak, Zhou Wen and the others were looking at the mountain peak from afar. So this is Tao worship peak? Zhou Wen muttered. The Tao worship peak was originally a sacred ground for the Chaos human race to hold the Chaos Tao worship ceremony. However, after the death of the Chaos Will, the original Chaos Tao worship ceremony lost most of its effect. As a result, the Chaos humans could not even complete their coming-of-age ceremony. Coupled with the Chaos God race's hunt, the Chaos humans did not dare to approach Tao worship peak openly. As time passed, no one cared about this Tao worship peak anymore. Your Majesty, why are you here? Haze of Chaos asked curiously. I'm here to hold the Chaos sacrifice ceremony and summon the chaotic divine demons. Zhou Wen said calmly. Chapter 1350 Shock of the Chaotic Human Race. Chaotic Divine Demons. Haze of Chaos and the other Chaos humans' expressions changed slightly. They naturally knew what chaotic divine demons were, having lived in the primal chaos ruins for so long. That was a special monster condensed from the remnant will of the primal chaos ruins. Not only was it extremely powerful, but it was also extremely strange. It already had some characteristics of indestructible will, and it was almost impossible to destroy. Even if they were destroyed, it wouldn't be long before the other party would be reborn and come back to take revenge on the enemy who had killed him. This was because it was extremely troublesome to destroy, and there were not many benefits. In addition, the chaotic divine demons had no fixed residence and were elusive. It was not easy to find them. Therefore, even the chaos humans and the chaos gods race did not want to provoke each other. They had been living in peace with each other for so many years. Why is His Majesty looking for this thing? However, they looked at the calm and confident Zhou Wen and opened their mouths. But in the end, they did not dare to ask. When they saw Zhou Wen heading straight for Tao worship peak, they immediately followed him. They secretly made up their minds, since His Majesty wanted to destroy the chaotic divine demons, no matter how difficult the other party was to deal with. As His Majesty's subjects, they had to persist in following His Majesty to fight. They would risk his life to accompany a gentleman and die at worst. Even though Zhou Wen's attention was on Tao worship peak, he also noticed the changes in the chaos humans like Haze of Chaos. He smiled inwardly. This reaction was completely different from the reaction of Ying Ning and the others, but it was normal. Who asked them not to know how blissful it was to join the Blazing Sun Empire? Haze of Chaos. You will now announce that you will lead all the chaos humans to join our Blazing Sun Empire and become a subject of the Blazing Sun Empire. Zhou Wen decided to give them a small shock. Didn't I just say that? Haze of Chaos was stunned. That wasn't formal. Zhou Wen replied. Haze of Chaos. I, the patriarch of the chaos humans, Haze of Chaos, am willing to lead all chaos humans to become subjects of the Blazing Sun Empire. Please allow me to do so, Your Majesty. Even though Haze of Chaos did not understand, he still obeyed the order. This emperor agrees. Zhou Wen smiled and nodded. As soon as he finished speaking, under the astonished gazes of Haze of Chaos and the other chaos humans, their bodies suddenly emitted a shocking white light. After the white light dissipated, they were shocked to discover that their potential had increased explosively. My potential has advanced to the Master God tier advanced grade? Me too. Mine too. I'm also a Master God tier advanced grade. My potential now is also a Master God tier advanced grade. I feel that I'm just short of promotion energy and can break through immediately. The chaos humans exclaimed in disbelief and surprise. My potential has also reached the limit of a Master God tier advanced grade? What's going on? He widened his eyes. Then, he thought of something and suddenly looked up at Zhou Wen, who was flying at the front. Could it be? Your Majesty. This is just one of the billions of benefits of joining the Blazing Sun Empire. Every subject is entitled to it. There's no need to make a fuss. Zhou Wen said calmly. Haze of Chaos and the other Chaos humans could not help but gulp when they heard that. Their expressions became even more incredulous. Are you joking with us? You call this a small benefit? What kind of small benefit could increase the potential of the subjects by 6 levels? This was the potential of 6 major classes. This meant that if a person only had Black Iron Tier Elementary Grade potential, he could directly become an Extraordinary Tier Elementary Grade potential holder. If a person had the potential of an Epic Tier Advanced Grade, after joining the Blazing Sun Empire, they could instantly become a Master God Tier Advanced Grade. That was already a level where there was no room for improvement. The Haze of Chaos felt that their worldview had been overturned. If this world was a game, they now seriously suspected that His Majesty had the game's modifier. Otherwise, how could their potential increase so much all of a sudden? When Zhou Wen saw their expressions, he didn't say anything on the surface, but he was secretly pleased. The Lord's law was indeed equivalent to the world modifier. This was also the strength of the Lord's laws. In addition, he wasn't being humble. This was indeed a small benefit of joining their Blazing Sun Empire. You haven't experienced the effects of the 10 sacred blessings, beauty, peach luck, and resurrection. At that time, they would only think that the benefits of the Blazing Sun Empire were even more abnormal. Zhou Wen did not say much about this. He would let them slowly experience it in the future. They flew to the front of Tao Worship Peak and saw an incomparably huge black array formation engraved on the ground of Tao Worship Peak. In the center of the black formation engravings, there was a huge gray cauldron that was 1,000 meters tall. Zhou Wen took a look and recognized that it was a replica of the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron. The real thing had disappeared into the myriad worlds after the Chaos humans fell after all. If he hadn't completed the mission issued by the Supreme Will, this race divine artifact wouldn't have fallen into his hands. He casually waved his hand and saw that the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron replica had disappeared. In its place was the real Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron. After the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron appeared, Haze of Chaos and the other Chaos humans were shocked. This is our Chaos human race's divine artifact. This is the real Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron. Haze of Chaos was shocked towards first, but by the end, his tone was filled with fanaticism. The Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron was the most important symbol of their human race. It could be said that this racial divine artifact was the faith of the Chaos humans. It represented their glorious years under the rule of the Chaos Will. In addition, the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron also had the ability to increase the Chaos humans' combat strength. Therefore, following the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron was lost back then, the Chaos humans' combat strength had greatly decreased. Otherwise, even if they lost when they were surrounded by thousands of races back then, they could at least last longer. He discovered that there seemed to be 100 million tiny problems alongside the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron. Why does this Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron look so ordinary? The Haze of Chaos hesitated. When the Chaos Sacrifice Tao cauldron was towards its peak, once it was taken out, boundless law phenomena would descend. During the Chaos Will era, it was even known as the number 1 race's divine artifact. As for the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron in forefront of him, it looked very ordinary. With the death of the Chaos Will, the Supreme Will rules the universe. The luck of the humans condensed on the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron has greatly decreased. That's why the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron has become like this. Zhou Wen stated calmly. When the Haze of Chaos heard this, his expression darkened. Zhou Wen ignored him and casually threw out 8 Chaos Magic Stones. The 8 Chaos Magic Stones flew towards the 8 nodes of the array and landed towards the array's hub. Immediately after, he struck out Chaos Dharma Seals into the lost Chaos Sacrificial Tao Cauldron. Countless Chaos Dharma Seals surged into the Chaos Tao Sacrificial Cauldron like phantoms. In just a second, he had sent more than 100 Chaos Dharma Seals. After he punched in a total of 1,800 Chaos Dharma Seals, he heard a buzzing sound. The entire Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron shook slightly, creating a circle of white airflow. At the same time, nomological patterns appeared on the Chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron and slowly revolved around it. Finally, A chaos vortex slowly appeared above the Chaos Dao sacrificial cauldron. Chapter 1351. Flesh Terror Demon God of Chaos. Ranbu. Bodhi Supreme is indeed reliable. Zhou Wen smiled when he saw this. Following that, he had a solemn expression as he struck out the last chaos dermic seal. Splash. True chains engraved with the secret engravings of the chaotic laws broke out of the void and rushed into the chaotic vortex. After all the chaotic law engraving chains entered the chaotic vortex, they began to exert strength at the same time, as if they were pulling something out. Soon, a blood-purple hand with sharp nails emerged from the depths of the chaos vortex and grabbed the edge of the vortex. Then came the second hand, the third hand, the fourth hand. In the end, a total of 8 hands stretched out from the chaos vortex and grabbed the edge of the chaos vortex together. Then, with a sudden force, a majestic figure flew out of the chaos vortex and finally floated in the chaotic sky. He was a light year tall and had 4 heads and 8 arms. He wore a blood-colored armor that was engraved with strange patterns of living beings cutting off their flesh to offer sacrifices. It looked terrifying. I am the Flesh Terror Demon God of Chaos, Robu. How dare you disturb my rest? Do you know the consequences? Robust blood-colored demonic eyes looked down at Zhou and the others with a ruthless and cruel expression. Soon, its gaze landed on Zhou Wen. The Khanate Regal? It raised its eyebrows slightly as greed flashed in its eyes. It suddenly laughed maniacally. Then, it suddenly lowered its head and stared at Zhou Wen. After eating you, my flesh and blood Tao will definitely be perfected. Perhaps I can even earn the fate of a Khanate Regal. Roar! It suddenly opened its mouth wide. A terrifying gale appeared in its mouth, howling as it tried to swallow Zhou Wen into its mouth. However, Zhou Wen's expression was normal. He had no fear at all. All sorts of nomological engravings surrounded him, forming an impenetrable nomological domain that protected him and the army behind him. The Lord's Law Skill. All the land in the world belongs to the king. After the extremely terrifying wind blew into Zhou Wen's nomological domain, it instantly disappeared as if nothing had happened. When Robu saw this scene, its pupils constricted slightly. This Khanate Regal had actually grasped a domain-type Lord Law skill. Lord Law-type God spirits were very powerful to begin with. Lord Law-type God spirits who had comprehended domain-type Lord Law skills could be considered outstanding among all Lord Law-type God spirits since ancient times. However, the greed in its eyes intensified. It was even more interested in this fellow's flesh and blood. That was just an appetizer. This is the real battle. Robu raised its right hand and faced them with its palm. In the next moment, blood-colored light spots flew out of the bodies of Zhou Wen's subordinates and landed on Robu's palm, forming a blood-colored light ball. It actually failed to obtain the blood core of that Khanate Regal. From the looks of it, its body is also extraordinary. I'm getting more and more interested in this guy's flesh and blood. Go on. With a casual wave of its hand, the blood-colored ball of light flew into the chaotic sky before falling like a rain of blood. After the raindrops landed on the ground, they turned into blood-colored creatures. Some of them looked exactly like Ying Ning. Some looked exactly like the haze of chaos. Some looked exactly like Qi Xiantian. And some looked exactly like Feng Luo. This Robu had used its ability to replicate the entire army other than Zhou fight. Zhou Wen looked at the flesh and blood army of the 5 capital units, the 10 million flesh and blood god spirits, the 5,000 flesh and blood true god tiers, the flesh and blood Pangu, the flesh and blood moon sun, the flesh and blood Kitotali, the haze of chaos, and the other flesh and blood replicas of the chaos humans. He was surprised. This method of forming an army, with a wave of his hand, was indeed terrifying. No wonder this fellow had been here for so many years. Be it the chaos humans or the chaos gods race, none of them could do anything to him. Kill, Robu roared arrogantly. Then, the flesh army created by him charged towards Zhou Wen's army. Destroy them. Zhou Wen ordered calmly. Kill. A bunch of monsters dare to pretend to be me? Am I as ugly as you? I'm so angry. When the Blazing Sun Empire's army faced an army that was identical to theirs, They all rushed over angrily to kill. However, robust weapon-making technique was not simple. The army of flesh and blood that it had created was not only the same in number as Zhou Wen's army. In terms of physical strength, he wasn't the slightest bit inferior to the army of the Blazing Sun Empire. In terms of physical recovery ability, robust's army was even better than the Blazing Sun Empire's army. Therefore, as soon as the two sides met, both sides actually fought to a draw. Kill, kill. When you're done, I'll summon it again. Let's see how long you can last. Robo laughed loudly. To be able to summon an endless army of flesh and blood, coupled with the fact that it was an undying existence, these two advantages were what gave it the confidence to face any enemy. It admitted that the Khanate regal in front of it, and the factions under it were very strong. However, so what? Could he defeat the endless army of flesh and blood he had created? Zhou Wen looked at the other party's arrogant appearance from afar, and could not help but fall into deep thought. It seemed that he had to deal with the main body. I'm in a hurry, he muttered to himself, and he did not want to spend the night in the primal chaos ruins. At the thought of this, he immediately activated King and entered the Master God tier elementary grade. Then, he teleported in front of Robu and slapped it. His palm turned into a resplendent starry sky. Every star in the starry sky represented the stars of the Divine Kingdom, representing a nomological path. And there were tens of millions of stars like this in this starry sky palm. Among these stars, there were 6 super stars that were 100 times larger than the other stars. It was the main God-tier Divine Kingdom star from the Blood Moon Sun, Kidotali, Pengu, and the other 3 Master God tiers of the people of foreign races. This palm strike contained the full power of the capital unit's subjects and soldiers, as well as tens of millions of God spirits, nearly 10,000 true God tiers, and the 6 supremacies. The entire primal chaos ruins shook slightly under the might of this palm. Robo was even more shocked. It wanted to escape. However, under the pressure of the myriad methods star palm, its divine body was suppressed to the point of being unable to move. Rumble. Robo was directly reduced to dust by this palm. Then, the powder condensed again and tried to revive. However, Zhou Wen naturally wouldn't do as it wished. He struck out with his palm again, scattering the meat powder that had just gathered again. At this moment, Robust's flesh army seemed to have received some order and turned to attack Zhou Wen. When Qi Xintian saw this, he immediately ordered them to stop these guys from approaching Zhou Wen. Therefore, without the interference of external enemies, Robo was eliminated by Zhou Wen more than 100 times before he was completely killed and 4 chaos divine treasures dropped. Those who cultivate the laws of flesh and blood are troublesome to kill. Zhou Wen frowned and muttered to himself as he picked up the chaos divine treasure. However, looking at the 4 chaos divine treasures in his hand, he immediately looked much better. Chapter 1352. Interception of the Chaotic God Race. Chaotic Divine Demons revive every other day. Now I have 4 units of Chaos Divine Treasures. The remaining 6 units of Chaos Divine Treasure will take another 2 days. Thinking of this, Zhou Wen nodded slightly. 2 days were not a long time. Then, he looked at the army behind him. All the Blazing Sun Empire's troops were rapidly restoring their formation. In less than 15 minutes, they had reorganized their troops and were ready to carry out Zhou Wen's next order at any time. As for the army of flesh replicas, they had long disappeared with the destruction of Robu. All troops returned to the Blazing Sun Empire. Patriarch Haze of Chaos. Remember to bring the Primal Chaos Ruins with you. From now on, the Primal Chaos Ruins will be ruled by the Blazing Sun Empire. Zhou Wen said. Yes, Your Majesty. The generals said respectfully. Then, they did not stay any longer, and boarded the Eternal Warship, returning to the High Continent. Inside the Eternal Warship, Zhou Wen looked at the scenery outside, and suddenly thought of something. He took out the Bodhi Supreme and asked, Bodhi Supreme, if I take away the Primal Chaos Ruins, won't the other lords of the myriad races be unable to obtain the Chaos Divine Treasure to advance to the Divine Kingdom Lord level? You're thinking too far ahead. At this stage, and for a long time in the future, who do you think can advance the territory to the level of a true God-tier elementary grade like you? In addition, even if there are really Lord of all races who can advance their territory to the level of a true God-tier elementary grade, however, he can choose to snatch it from you. If you can't win, then find the other lords of all races to join forces. The Bodhi Supreme said lazily. Zhou Wen immediately understood. His act of taking over the primal chaos ruins was indeed monopolizing the channels for the Lord of all races to upgrade to true God-tier elementary grade territories. However, at the same time, his hateful behavior could easily attract the other lords of all races to join forces to deal with him. Therefore, this was actually a choice with benefits and risks. It all depended on how the Lord of all races, who occupied the primal chaos ruins, chose. Zhou Wen wanted to occupy it without a doubt. The difference between him and the other lords was extraordinary after all. Even if all the lords joined forces, it would probably be difficult to deal with him, let alone snatch the primal chaos ruins from him. Looks like the primal chaos ruins will be in my hands for some time. Zhou Wen smiled. The Bodhi Supreme did not speak. The spaceship in front immediately stopped. At this moment, an angry shout came from right in front of them. Zhou Wen raised his eyebrows and turned on the virtual outdoor mode to look outside. A total of 10 Master God tiers of the Chaos God's race stood in the dark universe outside. They looked at Zhou Wen and the eternal worship as if they were looking at a dead person. You're pretty fast, Zhou Wen muttered to himself. Then, he directly ordered the eternal worship to stop and exit the dark universe, returning to the supreme great cosmos in reality. He ordered Zero to open the door of the battleship and fly out. He looked at the 10 Chaos God main gods from afar. They were the 9 Neonates Master God tier, the Sealing Boar Master God tier, the Winged Tiger Master God tier, the Mystic Lion Master God tier, and the Ghost Chariot Master God tier. They were all extremely famous races in the Chaos God's race. Among them were 3 Master God tier Advanced Grade God Spirits, 3 Master God tier Intermediate Grade God Spirits, and 4 Master God tier Elementary Grade God Spirits. Common People's Regal, how dare you? Instead of participating in the Lord of the Race's activities, you sneaked into the territory of the Chaos God's race and stole our forbidden land. How do you want to die? The leading 9 Neonates Master God tier said coldly. The Common People's Regal was as good as his now in his eyes. After they learned of the news of the primal chaos ruins, they immediately joined forces with the 10 Supremacies to kill these thieves who dared to covet their race's territory. How could they lose with him and the other 9 Master God tier? At the same time, he was pleasantly surprised. The Common People's Regal had always been ignoble, so much so that the Chaos God's race could not find a way to deal with him, even if they wanted to. They did not expect that the other party would actually go on an expedition personally this time and encounter them coincidentally. If this was not the luck of the Chaos God's race, what was it? Die. There are many races that want me dead, but in the end they were the ones who died. A large portion of them even became subjects under this emperor. Does your Chaos Beast race also have the intention to join this emperor? This emperor welcomes you, Zhou Wen said with a smile. The 9 Neonates Master God tier's face was ashen. The Chaos Beast was the name that the Chaos God's race was most unwilling to recall. This was because it represented the humiliation of being suppressed by the Chaos humans for an era. He did not expect to hear this title from the other party again today. As a veteran Master God tier of the Chaos Gods, he was furious, and then he sneered again. A remnant of the Chaos human race. I advise you to lead your army and surrender as soon as possible. Otherwise, let's see if you still have the courage to say these words when you're defeated and captured later, and have your soul tortured by me. Zhou Wen did not say anything. He only let the Blood Moon Sun, Kitotali, and Pang go out of the spaceship to deal with the 10 Master God tiers of the Chaos God's race with him. Follow this emperor in defeating them, Zhou Wen said calmly. Yes, your majesty. The Blood Moon Sun, and the rest immediately said respectfully. They raised their heads and looked at the 9 Neonates and the other Master God tiers with belligerent gazes. Before they came here, They had already been given an entire set of Master God Divine artifacts by Zhou Wen. Now that they were equipped with 6 Master God tier artifacts, even if their strength was only at Master God tier elementary grade, they already dared to fight against the top-notch Master God tier advanced grade experts. The 9 neonates Master God tier did not know about the Master God tier divine artifacts. Cold smiles appeared on his UPS when he saw that Zhou Wen only had 4 Master God tier elementary grade God spirits on his side. Then, he led the other 9 Master God tiers and charged at Zhou Wen and company. Seeing this, Zhou Wen also put on a pair of Master God tier advanced grade boxing gloves, the Great Black Heavenly Demon Fist. Then, he rushed towards the other party with the Blood Moon Sun, Kitotali and Pangu. Boom! The 9 neonates Master God tier had 9 heads, and could spew out 9 types of Heaven Earth Divine Water, and Divine Fire. As the strongest Master God tier among the 10 Master Gods, he immediately targeted Zhou Wen. His 9 heads let out 9 baby-like shrill cries before spewing out 9 types of Divine Flames. The 9 Divine Flames fused together, and transformed into a 9-colored Divine Fire pillar that shot towards Zhou Wen. Good timing. Zhou Wen was not afraid at all. He turned his palm into a fist and punched the 9-colored Divine Fire pillar with the power of the Myriad Methods Star Palm. The space-time of the entire universe seemed to freeze for a moment as soon as the two collided. Then, a terrifying shock wave erupted from the place where the two sides collided and swept across a radius of thousands of light years. Countless planets turned into dust under this shock wave and scattered in the universe, causing an empty area to appear in the supreme great cosmos that was originally filled with planets. Fortunately, this was the edge of the supreme great cosmos. Because it was filled with primitive and violent chaotic airflow, no life forms survived here. Otherwise, just this collision alone would cause countless lives to fall. Chapter 1353. Wiped out. The 9 neonates Master God was extremely shocked. In that collision just now, he was actually evenly matched with the other party. Zhou Wen shook his head secretly. It seemed that he could only activate a portion of the power of the king and raise his strength to the Master God tier elementary grade. There was still no way for him to fight an old Master God tier like War, then activate King at full power. Zhou Wen did not conserve any more energy. He directly activated King at full power, allowing all the subjects, soldiers, god spirits, true gods and master gods to instantly augment himself. Almost in an instant, Zhou Wen's strength directly soared to the level of a top-notch Master God tier advanced grade. In his current state, even if he didn't use the all the land in the world belongs to the king he had just comprehended, he could still slightly suppress War Master God Terrence. If he were to use the all the land in the world belongs to the king again, he wouldn't be afraid, even if the 10 Master Gods attacked together. If he could use Supreme God Realm trump cards as he pleased, then he would truly be the number 1 god below the Supreme God Realm. Again, he felt the terrifying power he had grasped. Zhou Wen revealed a sinister smile. He looked at the 9 neonates Master God tier and threw a punch. A corporeal white fist-shaped phantom exploded from his fist. Bang 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 bang. The vacuum of the universe seemed to have exploded, and a deafening explosion sounded. When the 9 neonates Master God tier sensed the incoming fist, he suddenly felt an unparalleled sense of fear. Almost instinctively, his 9 heads let out shrill screams. In the next second, 9 types of Heaven-Earth Divine Water and Heaven-Earth Divine Fire appeared in the void. These 9 types of Heaven-Earth Divine Water and Heaven-Earth Divine Fire connected with each other and actually formed a perfect and boring yin-yang water and fire diagram. The yin-yang image of water and fire slowly rotated in the void like a millstone of water and fire, crushing all the laws in the surroundings, turning the surrounding space into chaos. I don't believe you can break my 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram. The 9 neonates Master God tier's eyes turned red as he recklessly activated his powers. He even made his divine body bleed. He wanted the 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram to kill Zhou Wen. However, Zhou Wen's expression was calm. He punched the 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram. The 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram rumbled for a moment before it began to obliterate the power of Zhou Wen's punch. In front of the power that could obliterate everything, the punch he sent out began to turn transparent at a visible speed. Is that why you dare to face me? Ha ha ha, what a joke. Common people's regal, your time of death has come. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for coveting the position of the Lord of all races. That's not something low-level races like you can spy on. The 9 Neonates Master God laughed maniacally. Zhou Wen's expression was calm. He did not say anything. He only raised his fist and threw another punch at the 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram. Boom. Another white fist mark shot out from his fist and accurately struck the 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram again. The 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram rumbled for a while, and the speed of destruction suddenly slowed down greatly. The 9 Neonates Master God Tier's pupils constricted as he suddenly had a bad premonition. Could he be able to deliver a third punch? He saw Zhou Wen throw a third punch as soon as this thought appeared in his mind. Then came the 4th, 5th, and 6th punches. The power of these 6 punches was comparable to the full power strike of War Master God Terrence. However, Zhou Wen actually released 5 such attacks in one go. The 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram was shattered in the blink of an eye. The remaining fist force did not lose its momentum as it blasted towards the 9 Neonates Master God Tier. The 9 Neonates Master God Tier was shocked when he saw this. He immediately used the 9-level water flame Dao destruction diagram with all his might again, hoping to block the attack of the remaining fist force so that he could escape. However, his hasty ultimate move was unable to stop Zhou Wen's attack. It was directly shattered by the remnant fist force before striking the 9 Neonates Master God Tier. He immediately spat out a mouthful of dark purple blood before using this force to escape into the distance. He was afraid as he realized that this common people's regal was simply a pervert. It was impossible for him to defeat him alone. This guy's battle prowess was probably not inferior to that freakish War Master God, Terrence. He wanted to gather the other Master Gods to help him deal with the common people's regal together. However, he was shocked to discover that the 9 Master God Tiers accompanying he were actually stopped by the 3 Master God Tier elementary grade God spirits under the command of the common people's regal. This was simply unbelievable to him, because that was a total of 9 Master God Tiers. Furthermore, there were 2 other top Master God Tiers advanced grade God spirits among them. With such a lineup, they were actually stopped by the 3 weakest Master God Tier elementary grade God spirits, and could no longer support him. When the 9 Neonates Master God Tier saw this scene, he found it ridiculous. However, he soon found it no longer ridiculous. This was because he saw that the 3 Master God Tier elementary grade God spirits were actually covered in Master God Tier divine artifacts. The nomological light that belonged exclusively to the Master God Tier divine artifact shone brightly on their bodies. However, the 9 Neonates Master God only felt that it was blinding. He gritted his teeth, finally understood why the 3 Master God Tiers could stop the 9 Master Gods. Even if he had a full set of Master God divine artifacts, he would still dare to fight the War Master God Terrence. This common people's regal actually has so many Master God Tier divine artifacts. How did he do it? The 9 Neonates Master God said with an ugly expression. He subconsciously looked in Zhou Wen's direction. Then, he was scared out of his wits. This was because he realized that the place where Zhou Wen was previously was no longer there. He suddenly looked up. Zhou Wen suddenly appeared in front of him, as if he had been waiting for a long time. The 9 Neonates Master God looked at Zhou Wen's calm expression. It was as though he could see his own death in Zhou Wen's eyes. D***. He gritted his teeth and took out a square silver stone from his world rings. This silver stone emitted the terrifying aura of a grade 2 supreme god realm treasure. 6-sided divine stone, kill him. The 9 Neonates Master God suddenly widened his eyes as he looked at his empty palm. Where's my treasure? Where's my 6-sided divine stone? He roared in shock and anger. At the same time, Zhou Wen looked at the 6-sided divine stone in his first treasure vault and smacked his lips. The Thief of Heart was really useful. Then, he didn't waste any more time. He raised his hand and faced them with his palm, activating the 10,000 Spirit Saint. Invisible ripples instantly spread out in all directions with the palm as the center, and quickly enveloped all the master gods of the Chaos Gods race. A text notification appeared. Prompt: you have activated your mythical tier unique Lord talent, 10,000 Spirit Saint. All spirits see you as a supreme saint and long to follow you. Lord talent notification 1. A total of 5 Master God tiers of the Chaos Gods race have left their territory and become your loyal followers. Lord talent notification 2. You have obtained a spellcaster, Heavenly Fire, Master God tier intermediate grade. Zhou smiled. Not bad, not bad. Directly engaging the 5 Master Gods for free. This way, he had an astonishing number of Master God tier subordinates. If he included himself, his 5 clones, and the 4 Master Gods, that would be a total of 21 experts with Master God tier combat power. Such a faction was extremely rare, even among Overlord-level Lord factions. Then, he ordered the Master God tier Chaos Gods race to turn the tables and join forces with the Blood Moon Sun to counterattack the remaining 5 Master God tiers of the Chaos Gods race, who had failed to succeed in Insight defection. A moment later, the 5 Chaos Gods race Master Gods, including the 9 Neonates Master God tier, were all annihilated. After the Blood Moon Sun and the other Master God tiers cleaned up the battlefield, they returned to the eternal warship under Zhou Wen's lead and flew back to the High Continent. Chapter 1354. Defeating the 6-Armed War Demon. War Summary. Inside the Eternal Warship, Zhou Wen replaced his main body in seclusion to check the summary of today's battle. The summary of today's war was especially simple. Most of it was about the active universe. Other than subduing the Chaos humans and obtaining the Chaos Divine Treasure, he had also used the 10,000 Spirit Saints' Insight defection to instigate 5 Master God tiers of the Chaos Gods race. Such simple data did not have much content to read. On the other hand, Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu's gains in the active universe were very good. They had originally planned to cause trouble for the Radiant Angel race today to obtain the Lord talent of the Blessing of the 10 Gods that might appear as the Master God tier of Light. However, the Radiant Angel race was very far away from them today. On their way there, they happened to encounter the 6-Armed War Devil and were forced to start a war with him. The 6-Armed War Demons came from the Abyss and were the abyssal race that was most proficient in combat. Among soldiers of the same level, the 6-Armed Demon could crush most soldiers of the same level. In addition, they also had the Divine Kingdom soldier type, 6 ultimate demon god guards that belonged to their race. Even the Empire tier soldiers of the Blazing Sun Empire felt a lot of pressure when fighting the other party. Only Divine Kingdom soldier types like the Final Wool Guardian, the Power Heavenly God, and the Holy Dragon Knight could crush them. However, because Zhou had fewer Divine Kingdom soldier types than the other party's 6 ultimate demon god guards, the Blazing Sun Empire soldiers still suffered heavy casualties at the beginning of the war. Fortunately, after the Blazing Sun Empire instigated the Insight defection, their military strength far exceeded the other parties. Coupled with the fact that Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu were 2 top Master God tier combatants, as well as the Lords of the Star Alliance, they kept launching Insight defections at the True God tier and lower-level Lord factions to reduce the other party's military strength. Not only did the soldiers of the Blazing Sun Empire have extremely strong recovery abilities, but they also had a logistics treatment organization like the Life Arc and the most important resurrection ability. With these advantages, Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu only took more than 3 hours to annihilate the entire 6-Armed War Demon army. After this battle, the 6-Armed War Demons were not close to extinction, but their vitality could be said to have been greatly damaged. The only thing that made Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu feel a little regretful was that the territory of the 6-Armed Battle Demon was located in the Abyss. It would be more troublesome in the past. They might not be able to completely eliminate the 6-Armed Battle Demon for the time being, and then completely occupy all the racial territories and racial reserve resources of the other race. However, This also gave them the idea of attacking the abyss in the future. Speaking of which, after Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu destroyed the six-armed demon army, he obtained tens of trillions of mist cores, origin crystals, skill books, equipment and basic materials. There were also 2,554,151,505,210 green bronze tier, Lord Talent crystal fragments, 1,252 legendary tier, and below Scarlet Lord Talent spheres, and a large number of other Lord Talent crystal fragments. 9,951,554,100,000 units of divine crystals, from low-tier deity level to high-tier deity level. More than 4 to 8 billion units of time elemental gems. More than 3 billion units of spatial elemental gems. 75,235,100 true God-tier divine crystals. 2,504,140 master God-tier divine crystals. More than 562,545,100,000 divine artifacts, ranging from low-tier to high-tier deity level. 52 million true God-tier divine artifacts. 350 master God-tier divine artifacts. There were a total of about 1.9 trillion divine spark fragments, God-tier medicinal herbs, God-tier ingredients, God-tier ores, God-tier blueprints, and other treasures. 56,202,360 master God-tier herbs, God-tier ingredients, God-tier ores, God-tier blueprints, and other treasures. Insight defection had instigated 1 capital units, 4,152,520,051,51. 5,009,856 armed war demon soldiers. 1,122,124 6 armed war demon god spirits. 152 6 armed war demon true god tiers. And 1 6-armed war demon master god tier. Zhou Wen nodded slightly. Then, his gaze subconsciously landed on the space-time elemental gem. Only then did he realize that he no longer needed it. Keep it. I don't need it. The Lords of the Star Alliance will definitely need it in the future. Zhou Wen thought. Currently, among the Star Alliance masters under him, the Spiritual Medicine Lord and the Military Industry Lord had already upgraded their Spiritual Medicine Kingdom and Military Industry Kingdom to Advanced Kingdom. They were not far from the Beginner Empire. In addition, more than 100 lords had already upgraded their kingdoms to Intermediate Kingdoms and were about to upgrade to Advanced Kingdoms. Therefore, be it basic elemental gem resources, high-level elemental gem resources, space-time elemental gem resources, or even chaos divine treasures, the lords under him might have to use them in the future. It was definitely not wrong to keep them. Then, he looked at the rest of the content. In today's battle against the 6-armed demon, a total of 1,921,240 legendary tier advanced grade soldiers were promoted to low-tier deity level elementary grade god spirits. There were also 296 high-tier deity level advanced grade god spirits, who had advanced to true god tier elementary grade god spirits. Qi Xiantian and Bai Yi had even comprehended a master god tier elementary grade law skill. Tonight, they could enter the reincarnation sacred palace to cultivate and break through, officially advancing to a master god tier elementary grade god spirit. Zhou Wen was overjoyed. My main Bodis old team finally has 2 subordinates who are about to advance to the master god tier level. Especially Bai Yin. My efforts in nurturing her have not been in vain. She has finally grown up. He sighed. The difference between Qi Xiantian and Bai Yi's initial aptitude could almost be described as worlds apart. But who would have thought that the previously unknown bowman had now grown all the way to become the main god-tier existence of a clan-protecting expert? After the 2 of them advance, the lowest aptitude of our human subjects might be able to advance to extraordinary tier advanced grade. Soon, if we add dozens of new master god tiers, the lowest potential of our human race will reach the low-tier deity level elementary grade. When the time comes, our human race will become a top-notch bloodline race comparable to the original spirit race, the chaos gods race, and the shepherd's god race. Zhou Wen was excited. This sense of accomplishment of creating a top-notch bloodline race made him wish that dozens of new Master God-tier human experts would immediately appear in the Blazing Sun Empire. However, he also knew that it was wishful thinking. He smiled to himself and stopped thinking about it. As for why it was said that dozens of new Master God-tier humans were needed to promote the human race to a top-notch bloodline race, it was because the higher one's potential was, the more new Master God-tiers they needed. For example, at the level of potential below extraordinary tier, a newly advanced Master God tier might be able to increase the potential of the entire race by a small level. However, when one reaches the epic tier or even higher, raising the potential of the entire race by a small level might require 2 new Master God tiers, or even 3, 4, or even more. For top bloodline races like the original Spirit race, the Chaos Gods race, and the Shepherd's God race, the lowest potential of their people was low-tier deity level elementary grade, or even higher. At their level, it was possible to increase their potential by a small level. It required at least 10 new Master God tiers or even more. This was also the reason why the original Spirit race had nearly 100 Master God level experts, but none of his clansmen had the potential to reach the Master God tier level. Then, he looked at the rest of the content. Chapter 1355, Ranking, 27 Master Gods. Zhou originally had 10 capital units, 6,529,830,816,526,219 soldiers, 26,215,547 God spirits, and 8,623 true God tier subordinates. If the God spirits of the Chaos humans and the subordinates of the Insight defection were included, the soldiers under him had already reached 12 capital units with 68, 2,350,000,000, 8,066,000,000, 11,048,000,000, 29,000,000 soldiers, 28, 25,036,000, 15 God spirits, and 8,071 true God tiers. As for the Master God tier, he had 5 clones, Pangu, Blood Moon Sun Kitotali, 6 Sky Mystic Wing Master tier, 2 other people of foreign races Master God tier, 5 Skeleton Master tier, 5 Chaos Gods Race Master tier, and 1 6-armed Demon Master tier from Insight defection. Altogether, there were a total of 23 Master Gods. If War Master God Terrence and company were included, that would be a total of 27 Master Gods. When Zhou saw so many Master God tiers, he smiled and nodded. Then, he looked at the final content. Today, after Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu led their troops to defeat the 6-armed demon army, the Supreme Will rewarded him with 250 billion hegemony points and 25 million obscure lordship points. It seemed that in the eyes of the Supreme Will, the skeleton race was stronger than the 6-armed demon race. That was why they gave so many rewards. Previously, Zhou had a total of 445,160,572,000 hegemony points and 31,799,260 obscure lordship points. Now, including these hegemony points and the obscure lordship points, he now had a total of 695,160,570,000 hegemony points and 64,399,260 obscure lordship points. He opened the rankings. The second stage of the Lord of the Races event, Lord of all Races rankings. No. 1. Earthling Mortal Lord hegemony points. No. 2. True Spirit Stars Original Spirit Race, True Lord, hegemony points. 1,255,145,850,000 hegemony points. No. 3. Golden Crow Region Chaos Gods Race, Great One Lord, hegemony points. 58,634,100 hegemony points. No. 4. Godly King Planet, Shepherd's God Race, Heaven Chasing Lord hegemony points. 5,254,155,700 hegemony points. Zhou clicked his tongue and opened the 4th day's merchandise. Day 4 merchandise, Star Destroyer Cannon, mid-tier deity level elementary grade. Quantity, 20 same as before. Price, 200,000 obscure lord shop points. 4 million, elementary sun energy shield, mid-tier deity level elementary grade. Quantity, 10 same as before. Price, 200,000 obscure lord shop points. 2 million fei yen, mid-tier deity level elementary grade. Quantity, 5 same as before. Price, 200,000 obscure lord shop points. 1 million, potential advancement potion, mid-tier deity level, elementary grade. Quantity, 10 same as before. Selling price, 50,000 obscure lord shop points. 500,000, Spackwalker class change certificate, kingdom level soldier type. Number, 50,000 same as before. Price, 100 obscure lord shop points. Star Knight class change certificate, imperial tier soldier type. Quantity, 1,000 same as before. Price, 1,000 obscure lord shop points. 1 million universe legendary class change certificate, divine kingdom soldier type. Quantity, 100 same as before. Selling price, 10,000 obscure lord shop points. Summon God scroll, mid-tier deity level elementary grade. Quantity, 1. After using this scroll, you can summon a mid-tier deity level god spirit that is completely loyal to you. Price, 100,000 obscure lord shop points. External aid scroll, for lords only. Special level. Quantity, 1. After opening this scroll, you can invite an external aid member of your race to your race's territory to help you fight the lord of the race event. Selling price, 1 million obscure lord shop points. Note 1. Foreign aid scrolls can only be purchased after purchasing all the goods of the day. Note, after purchasing all of them, you can obtain mysterious goods. Mysterious goods are formed according to the situation of the Lord of all races. You can obtain goods that meet the needs of the Lord of all races. Foreign aid scroll? This thing is good. Zhou Wen's eyes lit up when he saw the last item. He was thinking of providing more support to the Cerulean planet. It seems like we can only send Pangu over now. Zhou Wen thought. His Excellency Pangu was fine too. Even though he had just advanced to the Master God tier elementary grade, however, with his Master God tier divine artifacts, coupled with the fact that he had mastered 2 Master God tier nomological laws, in terms of combat power, he was not much inferior to ordinary Master God tier advanced grade experts. It was enough to help Zhou fight and Zhou Wu. However, Zhou Wen soon thought of something else. This outer reinforcement scroll could allow him to send a main god expert to the active universe. However, this also meant that other races could do the same. However, Zhou Wen thought about it and smiled. I can't wait for more master gods to come. How can I make my subordinates stronger without top-notch experts like you? My subordinates are always stronger. How can I become stronger? At the thought of this, he immediately spent 19.6 million obscure lord shop points to buy all the goods in the shop. Then, he bought the unlocked foreign aid scroll. At this point, he still had 43,799,260 obscure lord shop points. In the next second, a text notification appeared in front of Zhou. Notice, you have bought all the goods in the obscure lord shop on the first day. Congratulations, you have obtained a mysterious good. I hope it's still an importation scroll. Zhou Wen thought silently. He felt that his main Buddhist strength was not far from the true god tier intermediate grade. Wisps of golden light appeared out of thin air in front of him. They intertwined with each other and quickly formed 10 items. Zhou Wen looked over and smiled. This was because these 10 items were all importation scrolls. A total of 10 importation scrolls were enough for his main body to advance to the true god tier intermediate grade. Not bad, not bad. The Supreme will still loves the main body. Zhou Wen nodded in satisfaction. At the same time, when the myriad races saw the scroll, their eyes immediately widened. Quick! We have to exchange for that foreign aid scroll. This way, we can send our race's strongest experts to the active universe to help our Lord deal with the Azure Emperor and snatch the Venus race's divine artifact from him. I heard that Lord Azure Emperor is very powerful. Even the 2 high-level bloodline races, the skeleton race and the six-armed battle demon race, have been lulled by him. But so what? There must be countless high-level bloodline races, now who want to use the foreign aid scroll, to go to the active universe. When the time comes, more Lord Gods will deal with the Azure Emperor. I don't believe that the Azure Emperor can escape this time. Venus must be ours. Even if it falls into the hands of other high-level bloodline races, we can't let that Azure Emperor have it forever. Otherwise, it will definitely shake the status of high-level bloodline races like us. There are already many weak races who have heard the saying that the lords of the myriad races bring about a new era. Roar, it has caused our rule to waver quite a bit. We must let those weak races who dare to rebel know that the supreme great cosmos still belongs to us. That's right. The tens of thousands of races discussed at this moment, all the races and Azure Emperor were very confident in their methods. It all depended on the final outcome. The deputy patriarch of the Chaos Gods race, Xianjing's face was so dark that it looked like it was about to drip water. The main force of the common people's regal, and his is in the high continent. They didn't come to the universe at all. The representatives of the other races could not help but feel strange when they saw Xianjing like this. Xianjing, what's wrong? Why do you look so pale? The elemental patriarch asked curiously. Just as he finished speaking, the patriarch of the dragon clan, the yellow-gold sacred dragon Solomon, said in a low voice. Don't you know? Today, common people's regal led the army under him to launch a surprise attack on the primal chaos ruins, the forbidden land of the chaos gods. Not only did he take away all the chaotic people, he even took away the primal chaos ruins. Furthermore, after the chaos gods race found out about this news, they immediately sent 10 master god tiers of the chaos gods race to stop them. Guess what happened in the end? These 15 master gods were killed. The other 5 master gods even surrendered directly to the common people's regal, allowing the common people's regal to obtain the combat power of 5 top-notch master gods for nothing. When Solomon said this, there was a hint of schadenfreude in his tone. He was even a little proud. This was because he knew that among the main combat troops, under the command of the common people's regal, was the dragon god army of the dragon race. Even the common people's regal had many legendary dragon bloodlines. In addition, the regal sage Dao sword had also acknowledged the common people's regal. Therefore, the dragons actually had a deep relationship with the common people's regal. In other words, the Azure Emperor was not the common people's regal. Otherwise, if the common people's regal had obtained Venus, they wouldn't have come. All the races had acknowledged that common people's regal's future achievements were limitless after all. Since his race had such a relationship with the other party, it was best to preserve it and not destroy it. However, since the Azure Emperor had obtained the extremely important race divine artifact, Venus, the dragons would definitely fight for it. Solomon, are you serious? Xianjing, good for you. Now, we're all thinking of ways to stop the growth of the common people's regal strength. But you sent 5 Chaos Gods race master god tiers to them. Aren't you causing trouble for us? Moreover, it's a huge problem. TSK, 5 master god tiers of the Chaos Gods race have directly fed the common people's regal. Common people's regal will be even harder to deal with in the future. Xianjing, didn't I tell you not to send your subordinates to fight common people's regal before you have the means to deal with his insight defection ability? Yuani said with a frown. That guy has already come knocking on our door. Xianjing said coldly. Yes, the reason was that simple. The other party had already come knocking on their door. If they still did not counterattack under such circumstances, what would the myriad races think of the Chaos Gods race? Then it wouldn't be a simple defeat. That was the issue of the entire chaotic god race's prestige being shaken. They would rather lose 10 master gods than have their Chaos Gods race's prestige in the myriad races be shaken. They were even more unwilling to admit that the common people's regal was an existence they were unwilling to provoke. Furthermore, that guy kidnapped a chaos human tribe. It's not like you don't know about the grudges between our Chaos Gods race and the Chaos Gods race. How can we just watch them take our enemies away? Xianjing said. Then didn't we still suffer a double loss in the end? A kin leader muttered. Xianjing's expression darkened even more. At the same time, he feared the common people's regal even more. He didn't expect it either. The insight defection ability grasped by the common people's regal was actually so terrifying. Master God tier existences were all super experts who had grasped the will like light realm. Their wills were as tough as divine iron. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible for them to be incited into insight defection. Master gods all knew how powerful willpower was, so there were very few existences among master gods who cultivated bewitching laws. Unexpectedly, the insight defection ability of the common people's regal could even induce the insight defection of a master god tier, who had the protection of willpower. Was this the Lord's law that was above all laws? Let's not talk about the common people's regal. The most important thing now is to acquire the Azure Emperor's Venus. However, the Azure Emperor's current strength has exceeded our expectations. Therefore, I've decided that from today onwards, at least 3 high-level bloodline races will join forces and lead a portion of middle-level and weak races to search for traces of the Azure Emperor in the active universe. Yuani said, once you find out, drag the Azure Emperor into the war and set up a trap to prevent him from escaping. Then, immediately inform your allies to attack the Azure Emperor together. Remember, you must set up an imprisonment array. It's best if it's a method of imprisonment that's below the level of a master god. That's because Azure Emperor seems to have a master god tier elementary grade spacecraft in his hands. It's precisely because of this spaceship that he can escape our pursuit every time. If we encounter each other again, I hope that we won't let them escape with the same method again. The high-level bloodline races that were battling for the kin sacred artifact planet Venus were also having a meeting. Chapter 1357, Mythical Tier. The Only Lord Talent, the Gospel of Homecoming also. The Azure Emperor also has methods similar to the common people's regal's insight defection. Regardless of whether this method came from the common people's regal's help, we have to be careful. The Titan God race has already tested the limits of that strange method for us. They want us to know that when facing that method again, we only need Supreme God Realm treasures that can block bewitching law skills. Some time ago, I specially gathered most of Regal Soul Heaven's divine bones, including the parts of the netherworld. After the meeting ends, each of your races will come to me to collect a portion of Regal Soul Heaven's divine bone. It should be able to block the other party's insight defection method. As soon as he finished speaking, the leaders of the various races exclaimed, "Good Lord, you've gathered most of Regal Soul Heaven's divine bones? As expected of the number 1 race in the myriad worlds. With your Excellency Yuan Yi's help, I don't believe that the Azure Emperor can escape from us this time. We'll definitely take him down this time." All the leaders of the races were very surprised. After Regal Soul Heaven's divine bone was messed up in the netherworld, it was lost in the myriad worlds. Even when the netherworld took the initiative to take action and try to retrieve all the divine bones, they were unsuccessful. In the end, they only managed to collect a small portion. He did not expect that they would be gathered by the original spirit race on the spur of the moment. It could only be said that the original spirit race was indeed the number 1 race in the myriad worlds. When the Chaos Gods race and Shepherd's God race leaders heard Yuan Yi's words, they could not help but curse in their hearts. I say, our race has spent so much effort, but we still can't find Regal Soul Heaven's divine bone. So it was all collected by you guys. As they cursed the other party's actions in their hearts, they also had the thought of buying some divine bones. Facing enemies like the common people's regal and the Azure Emperor, who had mastered the strange insight defection ability, the function of these divine bones was simply too important. Even though they could also find similar divine items, that would take time. And what they lacked the most now was time. At the same time, faced with Yuan Yi's suggestion, the leaders of the various races also approved of it. No matter how strong the Azure Emperor was, he was definitely not a match for 3 high-level bloodline races combined after all. Since no one has any objections, Then it's settled. Yuani looked at the leaders of the various races and finally said. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, it was the next day. It was also the 5th day of the first stage of the Lord of the Race. In the shrine of the Blazing Sun Imperial Capital, in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, Zhou, who was sitting on the mat, slowly opened his eyes. He glanced at the impartation scroll in front of him. He saw that out of the 10 impartation scrolls he had just exchanged yesterday, there were only 2 left today. He spent a total of 8 impartation scrolls in one night, but the results were also generous. The current him felt that he was only a step away from becoming a true God-tier intermediate grade. Give me another 10 impartation scrolls. No, give me 5 more impartation scrolls. I feel that my Lord's law will be able to advance further, and allow me to advance to an intermediate true God-tier God spirit. Zhou's eyes burned. It had been a long time since he had felt the feeling of rapidly increasing his strength. It felt really good to be able to increase his strength at such a speed. I'm not the only one who's about to advance to the true God-tier intermediate grade. My supreme sacred body has also advanced to the Master God-tier elementary grade. Zhou felt the changes in his body and was pleasantly surprised. Under the joint cultivation of he and his 5 clones, coupled with the absorption and fusion of a massive number of Lord Talent crystal fragments and Lord Talent origin divine crystals, his supreme sacred body had finally advanced to the low-level Master God-tier elementary grade. I didn't spend so many Lord Talent crystal fragments and Lord Talent origin divine crystals in vain. You finally King advanced. Zhou looked up at the sky and sighed. He had spent so many Lord Talent crystal fragments and Lord Talent origin divine crystals. If he directly used them to awaken and increase his Lord Talent, he felt that he could awaken hundreds of mythical tier 1 and only Lord Talents. But why didn't he improve? Wasn't it for this ultimate constitution, supreme sacred body? He had finally achieved something. The Master God-tier elementary grade is just the beginning. At the very least, it has to be upgraded to a Supreme God Realm elementary grade Supreme Sacred Body. Only then can I obtain the Supreme God Realm Lord Talent. Zhou sighed. He could already feel that the benefits brought by the mythical tier Lord Talent were gradually decreasing. The most obvious was the mythical tier Lord Talent, the King of Loots. The greatest contributor who had accompanied him in growing and becoming stronger could only drop Master God tier advanced grade treasures or divine artifacts for him. As for Supreme God Realm treasures or divine artifacts, not to mention that it could not increase its quality by 1 level, it could not even achieve a 100% drop rate, because he had the Lord Talent of a Master God tier advanced grade. It could not affect the drop rate of Supreme God Realm and higher level treasures, let alone having the quality increase 1 level. Most of the other Lord Talents were the same. Currently, the thing that surprised and comforted him the most was the Scarlet Brood Mother, the only mythical tier Lord Talent. That was because so far, it still has a lot of potential to tap. His territory was still a high-tier deity level advanced grade. He hadn't even reached the true God tier elementary grade after all. The future was completely foreseeable. Even if I don't use my Supreme God Realm trump card, I should be invincible at the Master God tier elementary grade and Supreme Sacred Body. Unless the enemy also uses a Supreme God Realm trump card, I can sweep through all enemies below the Supreme God Realm by myself. Even a grade 1 Supreme God Realm can't instantly kill me. Who has the Supreme Sacred Body? Zhou had such confidence. That was because this was the charm of the Supreme Sacred Body. This was a cultivation technique that even the Supreme Will was cultivating. It would be strange if it was not strong after all. Then, he stopped thinking and began to check the mythical tier unique Lord Talent that the Supreme Sacred Body had awakened for him after upgrading to the Master God tier elementary grade. Lord Talent, Gospel of Homecoming, mythical tier, unique. Specific talent effect 1. No matter where you arc, when you chant the designated password, you will immediately return to your territory. The moment you return to your territory, you will immediately recover 100% of your physical state and gain 10 seconds of invincibility. Specific talent effect 2. You can also let all your subjects return to your territory and obtain the same gospel effect. Specific talent effect 3. You can bring any subject under your command to the location of any subject you want. However, outside the territory, you will not be able to obtain the gospel effect. Lord Talent Notification. This talent can be activated 3 times a day. This is the version of Return to the City's mythical tier, the only Lord Talent? Zhou was surprised. Then, he thought of something and revealed an ecstatic expression. If this Lord Talent was really as he had said, then wouldn't I be able to send troops to the active universe at will? If that was the case, then he would be almost invincible in this event. Chapter 1358. Bringing Pengu to the active universe. Let's give it a try now, Zhou thought. He immediately sent someone to call Pengu over. Soon, Pengu arrived in front of him. Patriarch, what do I need to do? He chuckled. Your Excellency Pengu, are you interested in going to Cerulean Planet to help my avatar fight in the active universe? Zhou smiled. Pengu is more than happy to do so. Pengu's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he immediately said without hesitation. He had long been curious about this Lord of all Races event. However, after he woke up, the activity of the Lords of the Races had already entered the stage of the Lord of the Races activity. The activity battlefield had also changed to the active universe, so he had yet to see what the battle between the Lords of the Races was like. This made him feel rather regretful. He was naturally very happy that he saw His Majesty suddenly asking him to go to the active universe to help. All right, follow this Emperor. Zhou nodded. Then, he immediately recited the return to the city password. In the next second, Pengu and him disappeared on the spot. The active universe inside the Cosmos Emperor. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu were preparing for today's battle plan with the generals. They were originally prepared to attack the Radiant Angel race today. However, they suddenly received news that the high-level bloodline races that had come to attack them had suddenly decided to join forces to search for traces of their mortal empire. Among them, the Radiant Angel race, the Immortal Spirit race, and the descendant of the God Spirit race were together. The dragons, on the other hand, joined forces with the Elemental, Gas, and Leviathan races. As for the original Spirit race, the Chaos Gods race, and the Shepherd's God race, they led teams to search for traces of mortal empires in the active universe. This undoubtedly disrupted their battle plan, which was why they decided to adjust their battle plan at the last minute. At this moment, 2 figures suddenly appeared in the war conference room. They were Zhou and Pengu. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu looked up at the 2 of them almost at the same time and smiled. Main body, you're actually willing to leave the Reincarnation Sacred Palace? Zhou Fight teased. Zhou Marshal smiled and did not say anything. Greetings, Your Majesty. When the generals saw that it was Zhou's main body, they immediately said excitedly and respectfully. As Zhou began to cultivate in seclusion in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace, the number of times the generals saw him decreased. Many generals and ministers who knew Zhou often wondered when they would be able to see His Majesty's true form again. This was an extremely glorious thing for them as fanatic believers, and even Holy Spirit tier believers after all. Now that they had finally gotten what they wanted, as believers and subordinates, how could they not be surprised? When Zhou saw the soldiers bowing to him, he smiled and nodded. Then, he pointed at Pengu and introduced. This emperor came here for no other reason than to bring this chief god consecrator here, to help everyone conquer the active universe. As soon as these words were spoken, the soldiers could not help but look curiously at who this person was. He could actually get His Majesty to personally bring him here and introduce him so seriously. However, when they saw Pengu's face, their eyes immediately widened, and their divine bodies trembled faintly. It's His Excellency Pengu. It's actually His Excellency Pengu who came to help us. Greetings, Your Excellency Pengu. F***CK. I've only heard about the deeds of Your Excellency Pengu from my elders. I didn't expect to see him with my own eyes in this world. I have no regrets even if I were to die now. The generals were excited and immediately bowed to Pangu. Pangu smiled and greeted them. His prestige and influence, as the first patriarch of the human race, were fully displayed at this moment. Even though he had not appeared in the human race for many years, his appearance still caused a huge commotion among the generals. Zhou watched this scene with a smile. He had naturally expected this scene. As for Pangu's appearance, would it suppress his prestige in everyone's hearts? Zhou expressed that the people present were all my fanatic believers, and even Holy Spirit tier believers. Not to mention the reappearance of Pangu, even if their parents and friends came, they would still have to listen to him. This was the power of faith. It was crazy and intoxicating. At this moment, Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu walked up to him. Why did you bring Pangu alone? Wouldn't it be better to bring a few more god spirits, and a few capital units of soldiers? Zhou Fight said regretfully. At this moment, they already knew the effect of the Lord Talent, the Gospel of Homecoming. Therefore, they were not surprised by the appearance of Zhou and Pangu. They only felt a little regretful. Zhou rolled his eyes and said speechlessly, capital units of soldiers? In the past few days, you first instigated the Insight Defection Skeleton Clan, and then the Insight Defection Six-Armed War Devil Clan. The soldiers, god spirits, true god tiers, and master god tiers you've obtained are enough for you to dominate the active universe. Don't even think about my soldiers. I still have to expand my territory and conquer the chaotic divine demons in the high continent. Things are different now. Upon hearing this, Zhou Fight shook his head and said, just now, we received news that those high-level bloodline races have already reacted after suffering twice. Now, they have already begun to join forces to search for our traces to prevent them from being ambushed by us alone. Furthermore, the Skeleton Emperor has already told those high-level bloodline races about our Insight defection. Now, almost every one of them has a divine bone of regal soul heaven. Our 10,000 spirit saint can't do it anymore. You collected so many regal soul heaven's divine bones? Then use the thief of heart to steal them all. Zhou said casually. Then he immediately reacted. These high-level bloodline races colluded with each other. As long as he stole it once, they would know. Next time, he would definitely prepare precautions and even countermeasures in advance. With the top bloodline races of the original spirit race, Zhou had no doubt that they could do this. It would be meaningless if the Thief of Heart could only take effect once. Instead, it would increase the chances of exposing himself. The twin body was not invincible after all. As the only mythical tier Lord Talent, his upper limit was only Master God tier advanced grade. If the other party used a Supreme God Realm method to check the Azure Emperor's background, they would definitely discover that the Azure Emperor was actually his clone. It would be a little troublesome then. If that's the case, we can only kill him by force. Zhou said. First, use the Thief of Heart to check who the Regal Soul Heaven's ribs are on. Then, directly enter the enemy's army and kill them. From there, we will deprive them of their ribs. Then there's the Insight Defection's internal strife service. If the other party dares to use a Supreme God Realm trump card, then we'll also use a Supreme God Realm trump card. You've already felt it, right? The restrictions on the use of our first treasury have been lifted. (1359) Sixth Avatar. Zhou Tianming who shocked the world. Su Yuan who came to repay his gratitude. I feel it. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu nodded. Then Zhou Marshall said. It was removed the moment we obtained the Lord Talent, the Gospel of Homecoming. It seems that the Supreme will also knows that after we have the mythical tier 1 Lord Talent, the Gospel of Homecoming, the so-called restrictions on the use of treasures are no longer very meaningful to us. Therefore, we might as well remove the restrictions on the use of our treasures. We can bring a large number of treasures from the high continent to the active universe with a thought. Zhou Fight nodded and added. However, the Gate of Summoning still has a restriction on the transmission of troops. If we want to bring a large number of troops from the high continent to the active universe, we can, but we have to consume the number of usages of the Gospel of Homecoming. Zhou nodded and said with a smile, It's fine as long as I can bring it along. As for the number of times I can use it, I have to use it eventually. I can't possibly not use it when I have this Lord talent, right? That's true. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu laughed. Then I'll take my leave first. Continue. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Okay. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu nodded. Zhou nodded and returned to the high continent through the gate of summoning on the cerulean planet. In the blazing sun imperial capital, Zhou first decided to create his sixth clone after he returned. He had already replenished his source, so it was naturally not a problem for him to create a sixth clone. He could do it if he wanted to. He immediately used his talent, the doppelganger technique, to create a sixth clone. Greetings, main body. After the sixth clone appeared, it immediately nodded at Zhou. Zhou thought for a moment and said, "From now on, your name will be Saturday. Zhou Wen, and you will be in charge of expanding the territory of the Blazing Sun Empire and suppressing the chaotic divine demons to obtain the chaotic divine treasure." As for him, naturally, he stayed obediently in the reincarnation sacred palace to comprehend the Lord's laws. Ah, the corner of Saturday's mouth twitched a few times. Main body, what do you mean? Why have I become an ordinary Saturday when it comes to me? It's too much trouble to think of a name. Zhou did not hide anything. Saturday. Then the clone has to be called Sunday, Zhou 6 said. Alright. Zhou glanced at him indifferently. This guy just had to drag someone down with him. Then him leaving. Saturday accepted his fate and flew out of the shrine. After he left, Zhou ate a Master God tier level origin tonic, as he took stock of his 6 clones. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu were naturally the main battle avatars. The main battlefield was the activity of the Lord of all races. Zhou Wen and Saturday were the clones in charge of expanding and upgrading their territories. The main battlefield was currently the Supreme Continent, but in the future it might be the myriad worlds. There was no need to say anything more about Zhou Manage. He was the actual internal controller of the Blazing Sun Empire, and was in charge of managing the internal operations of the Blazing Sun Empire. The final 6th clone, Zhou Tianming, was in charge of being his mission expert in the myriad worlds. I wonder how Zhou Tianming is doing? He has traveled the myriad worlds alone to search for and complete the mission. I wonder if he has enough manpower? Should I send my next clone over to help him share the burden of the extra mission? Zhou thought. Just as he was about to browse through Zhou Tianming's memories, Aaliyah walked into the shrine and said respectfully to Zhou, "Reporting to your majesty, 5 master gods suddenly appeared at the periphery of the Blazing Sun Empire's territory and requested to meet your majesty. They said that they will unite the Blazing Sun Empire as long as they see his majesty with their own eyes." Zhou was interested. They would join as long as they meet me? Moreover, they are a total of 5 master gods? Is there really such a good deal in the world? Did they say where they came from? Even though Zhou was already the top god spirit below the supreme god realm, he still maintained 100,000 points of caution, so he asked in advance. One of them is a master god of the human race. He claims to be the forbidden mage master god, Su Yuan. The other 4 master gods are from the supreme immortal court, Saint Lei Hua, the heavenly lord skyscraping from the skyscraping race, the yellow gold prophet from the yellow gold tribe, and the wandering supreme great cosmos god lord myriad insect. Other than the forbidden mage master god, His Excellency Su Yuan, who said that he was here to repay a debt of gratitude, the other 4 master god tiers said that they were guided by the heavens and came here to assist His Majesty in ascending to the position of the Lord of all races. Aaliyah said respectfully, "Oh." Zhou's eyes lit up and showed it was Su Yuan. Moreover, wasn't the guidance that the other 4 master god tiers mentioned referring to Zhou Tianming? At the thought of this, he immediately browsed through Zhou Tianming's memories to confirm if his guess was correct. Soon, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. As expected, these 4 master gods were all subordinates that Zhou Tianming had obtained through a hidden unique level master god tier mission. Among these 4 master god tier subordinates, 2 were master god tier elementary grade. Individual was master god tier intermediate grade. and one was Master God Tier Advanced Grade. They had gathered together to resist the Shepherd's God race's rule. In the end, they failed to resist and were seriously injured. They were chased by a Master God Tier Intermediate Grade of the Shepherd's God race. Fortunately, Zhou Tianming was lucky enough to receive a Master God Tier mission to save them. First, he helped them recover from their injuries. Then, he killed the Shepherd's God race expert, who was a Master God Tier Intermediate Grade by himself. Together with some other favors, the four of them became the mission rewards. However, Zhou Tianming was powerful and liked to travel alone. He was not interested in his followers, so he sent them to him. This clone of mine is really amazing. A smile materialized on Zhou's face. Among these four master gods, Saint Lei Hua from the Immortal World's Supreme Immortal Court was that Master God Tier Advanced Great Expert. As a lone ranger without any faction in the Supreme Great Cosmos, God Lord Myriad Insect was a Master God Tier Intermediate Great Expert. As for the Skyscraping God of the Skyscraping race, and the Yellow Gold Tier Prophet of the Yellow Gold Tier race, they were the two Master God Tier Elementary Grade. Even though the latter two were the weakest, they had a huge advantage over the former two. That was, they had brought their own race to unite the Blazing Sun Empire. The Skyscraping race of the Skyscraping God was a natural combat race. Their combat ability was individual of the best among all the high-level bloodline races. There was even a Divine Kingdom soldier type, Skyscraping Giant God. As for the Yellow Gold Tier race, they were good at divination and combat. Furthermore, the martial arts combat technique, Yellow Gold Battle Form, that they had created from divination and combat, was renowned throughout the myriad worlds. It was known as the ultimate martial arts inheritance that was closest to the heavenly martial god realm. Let's go. Let's go take a look at our worshipped Master God. For Master Gods joined the Empire early in the morning. Not to mention Zhou. Even Supreme God Realm forces would be overjoyed. With that, Zhou disappeared on the spot. Chapter 1360. Gifting a Master God Tier Divine Artifact. Zhou teleported and appeared outside the Blazing Sun Empire's territory. Then, he saw the five Master Gods. Among them, the one that attracted the most attention was naturally the only Master God of the human race. Forbidden Mage Master God Tier Su Yuan. It couldn't be helped. He looked exactly the same as the Forbidden Archmage statue, so it was difficult not to recognize him. When Su Yuan saw Zhou, a smile appeared on his face. Then, he said seriously, Forbidden Mage Master God of the human race Su Yuan greets the common people's regal. This emperor has wanted to see you for a long time. Welcome back to the human race. It's been hard on you since you left the human race. Zhou smiled. When Su Yuan heard Zhou's words, an unnatural expression flashed across his face. He did not dare to look into Zhou's eyes. Ahem, actually it's not very difficult. Zhou glanced at him, with a faint smile. Thunder Tribe, Saint Lei Hua greets your majesty. Greetings, your majesty. Patriarch of the Yellow Gold Tribe Yellow Gold Prophet greetings, your majesty. God Lord Myriad Insect greets your majesty. The other four master gods also greeted Zhou. This emperor also welcomes everyone to this emperor's territory. Now that everyone has seen this emperor, are you still willing to join this emperor's Blazing Sun Empire? Zhou smiled. Of course. Your majesty's bearing is impressive. We are willing to join the Blazing Sun Empire. I'm also willing to serve his majesty. Su Yuan, and the rest immediately agreed. What a joke. The common people's regal in front of them clearly only displayed the strength of a true god tier elementary grade. But he gave the five of them an incomparably terrifying sense of threat. It was as if the other party looked ordinary at this moment. But in the next second, he could turn into a demon god of Taotai at will, and easily eat them in one bite. Those who didn't know better would think that this was some supreme god realm your excellency, pretending to be a true god tier elementary grade god spirit to tease them. In the face of an existence that could give them such a terrifying sense of danger, they naturally did not dare to say a word of no. After agreeing, the fear in their hearts disappeared, leaving only excitement. This common people's regal was only an elementary grade true god tier, but his true strength was already so strong. They simply didn't dare to imagine how terrifying his strength would be when he truly became a Master God tier expert. It was probably not impossible for him to fight a Supreme God realm expert. No wonder there were rumors in the myriad worlds recently that the Lord of the Blazing Sun of the myriad races was about to start a new era. With such a Lord with boundless potential and shocking strength leading all the lords of all races, coupled with the high regard of the Supreme Will, the matter of opening a new rumor in the myriad worlds might really come true. And the Lord of the Blazing Sun would also become the most crucial person in starting a new era for all races. There were no other criterias. As long as nothing unexpected happened, they would most likely obtain endless benefits in the future by following such a powerful figure with a bright future. When they thought of this, they could not help but think of Zhou Tianming, who had guided them here. That person was really reliable, so he wasn't all talk. They were very excited. Okay, welcome to this Emperor's empire. From now on, all of you will be this Emperor's worshipped master gods. Zhou smiled. Su Yuan and the other 5 master gods nodded. When Zhou saw this, he first brought them back to the Blazing Sun Empire and arrived at the Central Palace. At this moment, in the Central Palace, Zhou Manage, who had woken up early, was dealing with government affairs. Su Yuan and the rest were stunned when they saw the 2 identical Zhous. This Emperor's clone. He's usually in charge of helping this Emperor deal with government affairs. As the Emperor's main body, this Emperor spends most of his time cultivating in the Reincarnation Sacred Palace. Therefore, he is usually in charge of the matters of the Blazing Sun Empire. In the future, the ones you will have the most contact with will probably be him and this Emperor's man battle avatar. In the future, if you have any problems or need help, you can also look for him and the main battle avatar. Zhou introduced. Yes, Your Majesty. Su Yuan and the other master gods nodded. Then he looked at Zhou Manage again. This person was the one he would interact with the most in the future after all. Hi. When Zhou Manage saw their gazes on him, he greeted them expressionlessly and continued to deal with government affairs. Su Yuan and the others hurriedly returned the greeting, but they were secretly clicking their tongues. This was because they actually felt a terrifying threat that was not inferior to Zhou's main body from one of his clones. Good God! Our Majesty's clone is actually stronger than us worshipped master gods? And is a freaking true god tier? Oh yes! This is the benefit of joining our Blazing Sun Empire and becoming a worshipped master god. Zhou waved his hand, and 5 world rings flew out and floated in front of Su Yuan and the rest. Su Yuan and the others received it, and curiously sent their divine senses into it. Then they were immediately shocked. This was because they actually saw an entire set of Master God divine artifacts that were extremely suitable for them. For example, the Master God tier divine artifact that Su Yuan had obtained was a Master God divine artifact that could increase the power of the forbidden mage cast by him and provide a means of self-protection. The Master God tier divine artifact that the Yellow Gold Prophet had obtained was a Master God divine artifact that increased the accuracy of prophecy and the power of prophecy spells. The set of Master God tier divine artifacts that the Sky-wielding God had obtained was a Master God divine artifact that increased the strength and defense of one's divine body, as well as one's close combat abilities. The set of Master God tier divine artifacts that Saint Lei Hua obtained was a Master God divine artifact that increased the power of the laws of lightning and fire. The set of Master God tier divine artifacts obtained by the God Lord Myriad Insect was a Master God divine artifact that was specially used to increase the number of zergs reared and strengthen one's mental strength. Zhou seemed to know what they needed the most. He specially took out a Master divine artifact that was suitable for they and handed it to them. You can choose one of the Master God tier divine artifacts and keep it for yourselves. Take the remaining 5 Master God tier divine artifacts as a loan from this Emperor. You can use them first. When you have established enough military merits or contribution points, you can use military merits to exchange for the Master divine artifacts you want. In this Emperor's Blazing Sun Empire, military merits and contribution points are extremely important. It can be said that from a bar of soap to a top-notch Master God tier divine artifact, they can be exchanged with military merits or contribution points. If you make great contributions, it's not impossible for you to obtain Supreme God Realm treasures. In short, what you can exchange for depends on how many military merits or contribution points you have. The current him wouldn't be afraid of any enemy. Su Yuan and the rest's eyes lit up. They liked this open and transparent way of exchanging rewards. Yes, Your Majesty. We will definitely work hard to obtain military merits and contribution points. They immediately spoke with great ambition. Zhou nodded. Then after some thought he added, "By the way, let's have a video conference later tonight. Let me introduce you to the other worshipped master gods of our empire. You'll be colleagues and even comrades in arms in the future after all." Su Yuan and the others nodded. It was a welcome party. It was an old process. As an old man who had lived for countless years, they were naturally very familiar with it. (1361) by Yi and Qi Xintian advancing to Master God tier. Your Majesty, can you understand in advance how many worshipped Master Gods there are in our empire? So we can prepare presents. The yellow gold prophet pressed his palms together and asked piously. This. Zhou hesitated for a moment before saying with a smile. Then you'll have to bleed properly. Our Blazing Sun Empire has a total of 18 official worshipped Master Gods, excluding this Emperor and his clone. If you want to give gifts one by one, you have to prepare a total of 18 gifts. Su Yuan and the others immediately widened their eyes. Excluding His Majesty and His Majesty's avatars, there were 18 Master Gods who were worshipped by the gods? Including their avatars and His Majesty's, wouldn't that be a total of 30 worshipped Master Gods? Was this a King high-level empire? Many Overlord-level Lord factions didn't have so many worshipped Master Gods, right? You're shocked. If they were told that War Master God Terrence and the other 4 of the 10 major gods were also his future worshipped Master Gods, they would definitely be even more shocked. Well, prepare a gift for them. After hesitating for a few seconds, the yellow gold prophet said firmly. Su Yuan and the others also expressed the same. Even though giving out a total of 18 gifts was a considerable expense for them, that was all. They were all Master God tiers who had lived for countless years. They still had this bit of savings. Zhou nodded. Then, he was just about to tell him about today's chaotic divine demons war when he heard a loud boom outside. In the next second, 2 world-shaking divine might fluctuations erupted from the direction of the reincarnation sacred palace and spread wantonly in all directions. Right on the heels of that, a white light soared into the sky. In the light, one could vaguely see countless Blazing Sun Empire soldiers practicing their military formations, fighting bloody battles with the enemy, or attacking cities and territories. In the starry sky, the resplendent stars connected to each other to form a constellation that looked like a war chariot, shining brightly in the starry sky. Then, another resplendent golden sword light soared into the sky. Inside and around the sword light, there were boundless universes that were vaguely created and destroyed. They could create and destroy countless boundless universes with a single thought. They were as complicated and vast as the stars in the sky. After the sword light rushed into the starry sky, it actually formed a vacuum around the starry sky. No star could appear in this starry sky. Only the resplendent sword light that appeared and disappeared proved the danger and horror of this place. When Zhou saw this scene, a smile appeared on his face. When the gods of the myriad worlds saw the abnormality in the starry sky, they were immediately shocked. What's going on? A god spirit has advanced to become a Master God tier. And it seems like 2 Master God tiers have advanced at the same time? Which top-notch bloodline race has produced a Master God tier? The original spirit race? The Chaos Gods race? Or the Shepherd's God race? In my impression, only the original spirit race appeared once 150,000 years ago. At that time, the 2 new Master Gods had already become the pillars of the original spirit race. Quick, quick, quick. Let's go and see what faction it is. To be able to have 2 new Master God tiers at the same time? From the looks of it, the source should be the High Continent. I wonder which Overlord level Lord faction in the High Continent it is. The gods immediately looked in the direction of the source of the light, and then their expressions immediately became dumbfounded. This was because they were shocked to see that the 2 newly advanced Master God tier pillars of light actually came from the Blazing Sun Imperial capital. 2 new Master God tiers had actually appeared in the capital. Could the Blazing Sun Empire be blessed by the supreme blessing? Why was it so easy for a Master God tier to be born? At this moment, superstition or not, many Master God tiers, true God tiers, and even weaker God spirits had the idea of going to the Blazing Sun Empire to cultivate. What to do? In just a few days, 2 ridiculous incidents involving 2 newly advanced Master God tiers had happened. Then, after he joined the Blazing Sun Empire, there might be a chance that such a good thing would happen to him next time? Even if he could not use it, it was good to bask in it. At the same time, the 3 top bloodline races, the Original Spirit race, the Chaos Gods race, and the Shepherd's God race, as well as the other high-level bloodline races, immediately had ugly expressions on their faces when they learned that 2 new true God tiers had appeared in the Blazing Sun Empire. This common people's regal is clearly not participating in this race leader event anymore, but he still causes such a huge commotion every day. Now, he already has so many Master God tier subordinates. In addition, he has Supreme God Realm trump cards. The Original Spirit race. Source's expression was uncertain. There's no need to join forces with those high-level bloodline races as soon as possible to eliminate the common people's regal in one fell swoop. We can't give him any more time to grow. The Chaos Sea, a white-haired beast whose entire body was filled with the aura of the curse of fate, and whose face was blurry like a mosaic, stood in the center of the Chaos Sea. The turbulent airflow here was extremely dense. Even Master God tier existences would be injured if they entered. However, this white-furred beast did not seem to care about this. In fact, its expression was a little satisfying. He was the strongest expert of the Chaos Gods race. The Heaven Curse Beast. This was an existence that even the Supreme Will was uttered to be jealous of. The curse on him was a curse personally bestowed by the Supreme Will. Later on, in order to suppress the curse on him, the Heaven Curse Beast sealed itself in the deepest part of the Chaos Sea. Unless he encountered a genocidal event, he would basically not leave this place. At most, he would convey orders to his race here. The moment Bai Yin and Qi Xiantian became Master God, the Heaven Curse Beast slowly opened its eyes. A lord of all races from the human race can actually reach this stage. What an amazing little guy. Bai Zhe, the Heaven Curse Beast called out. Patriarch, I'm here. A small white dog suddenly appeared in front of the Heaven Curse Beast, sticking out its tongue and laughing. Order the Chaos Gods race to kill the common people's regal at all costs, even if they have to give up on the second stage of the race leader activity. In short, we can't let the Supreme Will have such an outstanding Lord of all races as a candidate for him as the Lord of all races. Yes, Patriarch. Bai Zhe left. Soon, a certain god's crazy laughter filled with hatred came from the depths of the Chaos Sea. The current Patriarch of the Shepherd's God race, the Lord of the Holy Court, Di Huang, was reviewing the administration of the Shepherd's God race. At this moment, he seemed to sense something. He looked in the direction of the Supreme Continent and frowned slightly. You've grown so fast. My descendants, other than Zhu Tian who has some potential, none of the other descendants can do it. He casually picked up a golden commander's seal and threw it into the air in front of him. He saw the golden commander's seal dissolve in the air and disappear. With the brocade pouch I made myself, there should be no problem now. After saying that, Di Huang did not care about anything else and continued to get busy. (1362) Extraordinary Tier Advance Great Potential. 36 Lord Gods. 15 capital units of soldiers. The phenomenon in the starry sky lasted for more than half an hour, before gradually disappearing. Then 2 streams of light quickly flew out of the reincarnation sacred palace, and immediately flew out of the divine world, arriving in front of Zhou. Battle formation Divine Master. Bai Yin greets your majesty. Heavenly Sword Sage, Qi Xiantian greets your majesty. Bai Yin and Qi Xiantian said respectfully and excitedly, congratulations to the 2 of you for becoming Master Ultimate Gods. With your appearance, our empire will definitely be like a tiger with wings. Zhou said with a smile. Bai Yin and Qi Xiantian smiled, but they did not show any conceit. Currently, the number of Master God tiers in the Blazing Sun Empire has already exceeded 2 digits. In addition, there were 4 Master God level existences and their Emperor, the number 1 true God below the Supreme God realm present. They really could not think of what qualifications they had to be conceded. Of course, he was naturally proud, becoming a clan-protecting expert like the Master God tier. In this environment where Supreme God realm experts, and even stronger experts did not appear easily, they could already call themselves actual experts. People like Qi Xiantian could even call themselves saints in the immortal Dao civilization, and be respected by all races. Who wouldn't be proud? On Zhou's side, after sensing the change in the potential of his subjects, a smile subconsciously appeared on his face. This was because he could sense that in the Blazing Sun Empire, the lowest potential of the human race had already reached the Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade. Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade Potential. I'm about to advance to Epic Tier Elementary Grade Potential. Zhou sighed. Then his expression turned solemn again. This was because advancing to the Epic Tier realm was the first bottleneck for a life form's potential advancement. The next time he wanted to advance the potential of humans to the Epic Tier realm, he would probably need at least 2 new Master God tiers. Most of the main generals under me have the Master God tier inheritance, coupled with their potential, and the help of the Reincarnation Sacred Palace. It won't be a problem for them to become Master Gods in the future. In the future, it shouldn't be a problem for humans to reach the God Spirit, True God tier, or even the Lord tier of top bloodline races like the original Spirit race. For me, what I need most is always time, Zhou muttered to himself. Then, his gaze landed on Bai Yin and Qi Xiantian again. As newly advanced Master God tiers, this Emperor will naturally not mistreat you. Keep this. He threw 2 world rings over after he finished speaking. After Bai Yin and Qi Xiantian received it, they immediately entered it with their divine senses. Then, they saw the entire set of Master God tier divine artifacts inside. Among them, Bai Yun's Master God divine artifact could increase the power of the military formation, and her weapon was a set of Master God tier elementary grade bows and arrows. Apart from a body armor, Qi Zuanshan's Master God divine artifact was a Master God tier elementary grade sword Dao nomological divine sword. The 2 of them looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. This set of Master God tier divine artifacts was simply too suitable for them. You can choose to keep 3 of the Master God tier divine artifacts that you have obtained for yourselves. The remaining 3 will be considered loaned to you by this Emperor. In the future, if you want them, you can use military merits or contribution points to exchange for them. You have the priority to exchange for them. Zhou said with a smile. Bai Yin and Qi Xiantian were his old teammates, especially Bai Yin, who had been following him since he was at his weakest. She had contributed a lot. He naturally couldn't give her a mere Master God tier divine artifact, like how he treated the newly joined Master Gods. Of course, he could not give them all. Otherwise, what would he be rewarded with in the future? 3 was just right. And what he said did not hide from Su Yuan and the others. After Su Yuan and the others heard it, they could only be envious. They did not have any indignant thoughts. How could a rookie like him, who had not contributed an inch, compare to an old man with outstanding military achievements? You're just in time. Get to know each other. This is the new worship Master God who has just joined our Blazing Sun Empire. You'll be working together from now on. Zhou turned around and introduced. Hearing this, Bai Yin and the rest immediately got to know Su Yuan and the rest. There was no conflict of interest between the 2 sides. Coupled with the fact that they were going to work together in battle in the future, They quickly became familiar with each other. Zhou looked at how they knew each other and smiled. As such, he now had a total of 25 master gods, including the 6 avatars, Terrence, and the other 4 master god tiers. There were a total of 36 god tier supremacies. A total of 36 lords with god tier combat strength. Among all the overlord level lord factions, they should be considered above average, right? Zhou thought. Thereafter, he temporarily didn't let Bai Yin return to Cerulean Planet. This was because he planned to save the remaining 2 Gospel of Homecomings as a backup in case of special circumstances. He didn't want to use them easily. Therefore, he got Bai Yin to lead the army of the Blazing Sun Empire again, to prepare for today's Chaos Divine Treasure War and Territory Expansion War. And he came to Mugu. After Wuxia led the Homeland Defense Army to eliminate all the nest monsters in the Scarlet Brood Mother, he successfully obtained 8,000 trillion copies of the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier Recruitment Books, 8,000 trillion copies of the Violent Storm Spirit Recruitment Books, 8,000 trillion copies of the Yellow Talisman Dao Soldier Class Change Certificate, and 8,000 trillion copies of the Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate. Then, he and Wuxia split into 2 groups. One group went to change their professions, and arranged for all the soldiers who had successfully changed their professions to join the main battle army of the Blazing Sun Empire. On the other side, Zhou arrived at the Gate of Summoning. After spending 100 high-tier deity-level advanced grade divine crystals, he recruited 6 new recruits from the capital units in one go. On the other side, Zhou arrived at the Gate of Summoning. After spending 100 high-tier deity-level advanced grade divine crystals, he enlisted 6 new recruits from the capital units in one go. This time, he still did not summon the legendary dragon. However, Zhou was already very calm this time. He was not disappointed at all. Previously, I had a total of 12 capital units 682,350,000, 8,066,000. 11,004,829 soldiers, 25,003,615 god spirits, 8,071 true god tiers, and 28 master god combat strength. Now, including these new recruits and dragons, we have 15 capital units 268, 2,417,000, 5,032,000, 78,001,495 soldiers, 28,919,615 god spirits, 8,737 true god tiers, and 36 master god combat strength. Zhou nodded slightly. He liked the feeling of improving bit by bit every day. Then, he spent another 100 high-tier deity-level advanced grade divine crystals to call forth more than 73 million new subjects and 12 high-tier deity-level advanced grade god spirits. He summoned more than 8 million new subjects than usual. Then, he came to the Lord's shop to check today's goods. The result left him somewhat disappointed. The goods today were actually not bad. They were the Yellow Gold Prophet's Golden Bloodline God Lord Myriad Insect's Companion Treasure, Myriad Insect Blood Goo, as well as Qi Zuanshan's Master God Tier Elementary Grade Sword Dao, the Heaven Sword Technique. These were all Master God Tier level treasures. However, with Zhou's current level, he was really not interested in items at the Master Gods. It was more like a Supreme God Realm treasure, or even a divine artifact. However, he didn't care after being disheartened for a while. Now that he had the mythical tier unique Lord Talent, the King of Loots, and the Lord Shop, their effects gradually began to weaken as Zhou became stronger. This made Zhou desire for the Supreme God Realm Lord Talent even more. I have to raise the Supreme Sacred Body to the Supreme God Realm as soon as possible. Only then can I have the Supreme God Realm Lord Talent, he thought silently. (1363) The merchandises on the 5th day. The chaos of Gold Demon God Golden Brilliance. Fortunately, the cultivation of the Supreme Sacred Body was relatively simple. As long as he continuously consumed Lord Talent crystal fragments and Lord Talent origin divine crystals, he could increase the level of the supreme sacred body. As long as he continuously consumed Lord Talent crystal fragments and Lord Talent origin divine crystals, he could increase the level of the supreme sacred body. Zhou felt that if he could always have enough Lord Talent crystal fragments and Lord Talent origin divine crystals for him to cultivate the supreme sacred body, he might be able to cultivate the supreme sacred body before the God Spirit reached the supreme God realm. Then, he returned to the shrine. With a thought, he summoned today's Lord Shop's merchandise. Day 5 merchandise, Star Destroyer Cannon, mid-tier deity level intermediate grade, quantity, 50 same as before. Price, 300,000 obscure Lord Shop points. Elementary Sun Energy Shield, mid-tier deity level intermediate grade, quantity, 20 same as before. Price, 300,000 obscure Lord Shop points. Star Destroyer Cannon, mid-tier deity level intermediate grade, quantity, 50 same as before. Price, 300,000 obscure Lord Shop points. Potential Advancement Potion, mid-tier deity level intermediate grade, quantity, 20 same as before. Price, 70,000 obscure Lord Shop points. Spacewalker Class Change Certificate Kingdom Level Soldier Type. Number, 100,000 same as before. Price, 100 obscure Lord Shop points. Heavenly Knight Class Change Certificate, Imperial Tier Soldier Type. Quantity, 1,000 same as before. Price, 1,000 obscure Lord Shop points. Universe Legendary Class Change Certificate, Divine Kingdom Soldier Type. Quantity, 100 same as before. Price, 10,000 obscure Lord Shop points. God Summoning Scroll, mid-tier deity level intermediate grade. Quantity, 1. After using this scroll, you can summon a mid-tier deity level God Spirit that is completely loyal to you. Selling price, 200,000 obscure Lord Shop points. External Aid Scroll, Lord Only, special level, quantity, 2. After activating this scroll, you can invite an external aid member of your race to your race's territory to help you fight the Lord of the Race event. Selling price, 1 million obscure Lord Shop points. Civilization Radar, True God Tier Elementary Grade. Quantity, 1. After activating this radar, you can search for the location of civilizations within a radius of 100 billion light years. Price, 100,000 obscure Lord Shop points. Heart of Vengeance Special Level. Quantity, 1. Stick the Heart of Vengeance to the position of your soul, and imagine the appearance of the enemy you want to take revenge on. The Heart of Vengeance will guide your path. Selling price, 5 million obscure Lord Shop points. Note 1. Foreign aid scrolls can only be purchased after purchasing all the goods of the day. Note, after purchasing all of them, you can obtain mysterious goods. Mysterious goods are formed according to the situation of the Lord of all races. You can obtain goods that meet the needs of the Lord of all races. Zhou's gaze landed on the new Civilization Radar and the Heart of Vengeance. Civilization Radar was naturally useless against Zhou. This was because he had the Detection Navigation Radar of the Master God Tier Advanced grade on the Eternal Mothership alone. It could detect any civilization within a radius of 100 capital units. It was much stronger than the low-level True God Tier Civilization Radar. As for the Heart of Vengeance, it was interesting. He actually had similar items on him, but they had restrictions on the frequency of use or range of guidance. However, the Heart of Vengeance did not specifically explain these 2 points. Could it be that the Heart of Vengeance did not have these 2 restrictions? If that was the case, then this was indeed a very good treasure. In the end, he realized that it required a total of 47.7 million obscure Lord Shop points. Zhou smacked his lips. Good God. He only had 43,799,260 points now. This number was definitely an unimaginable number for the lords of the other races. However, he could not buy all the goods. He silently closed the shop interface. At the same time, he informed Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu to eliminate a few more high-level bloodline races. After receiving an affirmative response from his clone, He returned to the reincarnation sacred palace in satisfaction to continue comprehending the laws. At the same time, Zhou Wen and Saturday also arrived at the primal chaos ruins and prepared to summon today's chaotic divine demons. After the primal chaos ruins was brought to the supreme continent by the haze of chaos and the other chaos humans, it was arranged to be in the sky above a no-man's land outside the blazing sun empire. This place was desolate and uninhabited within a radius of tens of thousands of light years. It was usually used by the researchers of the blazing sun empire to test new weapons. Therefore, it was not a problem to use it to settle down in the primal chaos ruins. Zhou Wen and Zhou Wu still led the army of the 5 capital units, 10 million god spirits, 5,000 true god tiers, Zhou Sheng, Blood Moon Sun, and Kitotali to challenge the primal chaos ruins. The only difference was that Pangu was not in the team and had gone to the cerulean planet. However, this naturally did not affect him. On Tao Worship Peak, Zhou Wen ignored him and casually threw out 8 chaos magic stones. The 8 chaos magic stones flew towards the 8 nodes of the array and landed at the array's hub. Immediately after, he skillfully injected more than 1,800 chaos dharma seals into the chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron. In the next second, buzz, the entire chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron shook slightly before a circle of white airflow shook. At the same time, nomological patterns appeared on the chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron and slowly revolved around it. A few seconds later, a chaos vortex gradually formed above the chaos Tao sacrificial cauldron. Splash! True chains engraved with the secret engravings of the chaotic laws broke out of the void and rushed into the chaotic vortex, dragging something out. Soon, a black head with a golden horn emerged from the chaos vortex. He bit on a chaos nomological chain and looked greedily at the blazing sun empire's army outside. I am the chaos of gold demon god Golden Brilliance. Are you bringing me food? What food does your excellency want? Zhou Wen asked calmly. Metal. The higher the quality of the metal, the better. It's best if it's at the master god tier level. Supreme god realm metal, if there is one, I can also accept it. Golden Brilliance's eyes lit up. The corners of Zhou Wen's mouth twitched. He asked for a master god tier supreme god realm metal. What a big appetite. However, he really did. This emperor has what you said. But what may you use to exchange for it? Zhou Wen asked. Golden Brilliance was stunned for a moment, as if he hadn't expected the other party to have the intention of making a deal with him, and not directly offering it to him. He narrowed his eyes and asked, What do thou want? This emperor wants all the chaos divine treasures on you. Zhou Wen said, That's my lifebound item. If I give it to you, I won't be able to live. Golden Brilliance shook his head. That's a pity. I don't think we may close this deal. Zhou Wen shook his head regretfully. I doubt it. Golden Brilliance said maliciously. What do thou mean? Zhou Wen inquired despite knowing the answer. If I kill you, won't all the high-quality metals on your body be mine? I don't have to give thou the chaos divine treasure. Golden Brilliance finally revealed his malice. Zhou Wen smiled when he heard that. Then, he took out the Xian Yuan divine sword and pointed it at Golden Brilliance. What thou said is really what this emperor wants. (1364) Destroying the chaos of Gold Demon God. So we all have the same idea, ha ha ha. When Golden Brilliance saw Zhou Wen's attitude, he was stunned for a moment before laughing out loud. Then, he said with a ferocious expression, That depends on how capable you are. Come out, my sacred gold army. Golden Brilliance roared at the sky. A large number of golden light spots condensed in the air. These golden light spots quickly gathered together and formed soldiers made of various metals. Their numbers increased rapidly. In just a short while they formed the 5 capital units Sacred Gold Army, 10 million Sacred Gold God Spirits, 50,000 Sacred Gold True God Tiers, Sacred Gold Constitution Saturday, Sacred Gold Constitution Zhou Wen, Sacred Gold Constitution Blood Moon Sun, Sacred Gold Constitution Kitatalis 4 Supremacies God Tier Combat Power. Kill them. Golden Brilliance licked his metal lips and pointed from afar. Kill. All the sacred gold army immediately rushed towards Zhou Wen and the rest. Kill! The Blood Moon Sun and Kiddo Tali roared and charged at their replicas. Let me do it! Zhou Wen was about to destroy his clone when he heard Saturday speak. All right, you do it. Zhou Wen didn't mind and nodded indifferently. Saturday nodded. Then, he looked at Saturday's clone and Zhou Sheng's clone, who were rushing towards him, and a cold expression appeared on his face. I was already very unhappy today because of the name. I can use you guys to vent my anger. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw that Saturday was actually not wearing any Master God Tier Divine Artifact, when he was only maintaining the Master God Tier Advanced grade. He directly turned into a stream of light and rushed to the opposite side. Sacred Gold Constitution Saturday and Sacred Gold Constitution Zhou Wen were stunned when they saw this scene. Then they smiled sinisterly. As duplicates, they had the same level of strength as Saturday. They were all at Master God Tier Elementary grade. It was just that they did not have the Lord's Law. However, there was another advantage. As Sacred Gold Constitution, the defensive power of their divine bodies was extremely strong. It was almost comparable to Master God Tier Advanced grade Divine Artifact of the same level. They were confident that even if the other party took out a Master God Tier Master God Divine Artifact, they wouldn't be able to hurt them for a while. This was also the characteristics and advantages of the generals, summoned by the gold chaotic divine demons. However, what did they see? That stupid fellow actually dared to rush up and engage them in close combat without wearing anything, directly confronting their strongest point. Even if he wanted to die, this was not the way to do it. He's really courting death. Zhou Wen smiled sinisterly and threw a punch at Saturday. As soon as he swung his fist, wherever his fist passed, space exploded, revealing the deep dark void behind it. On his fist were golden law engravings. They had extremely powerful cutting law characteristics. Anything that dared to block his fist would be mercilessly sliced apart. Zhou Wen's expression was very calm when faced with this terrifying punch. He only gently stretched out his right hand and easily caught this incomparably powerful punch. All the powerful and unparalleled cutting power seemed to have lost its effect in front of Zhou's right hand. Zhou Wen's expression changed drastically when he saw this, and disbelief flashed across his eyes. How is that possible? He cried out. He had thought of the countless possibilities for the other party to block his punch. However, he did not expect this scene. He only felt that the all-out punch he had thrown out was like a clay ball entering the sea when it landed on the other party's palm. Be it the terrifying power in the fist or the powerful laws of gold attached to it, it instantly melted to the point of disappearing without a trace. It was as if he had become a regular person and had thrown an extremely ordinary punch at a god spirit. No, he might not even be comparable to an ordinary person. This was because he felt that his punch was very soft and powerless. Even the little girl had more strength than him. When Saturday saw the other party's shocked expression, his expression turned cold, and he smiled coldly in his heart. After their main bodies cultivated the Supreme Sacred Body to Master God Tier Elementary grade, the Supreme Sacred Body of their clones also elevated to Master God Tier Elementary grade. A Master God Tier Elementary grade Supreme Sacred Body could be immune to all damage from Master God Tier Elementary grade. Moreover, it had an extremely high defense against higher level damage. For example, the dual attack of this guy's Master God Tier Advanced grade Law of Strength, and the Metal Law would only make his palm hurt a little. It could not even break his skin. As for why the other party's power disappeared, it was because the effect of the Supreme Sacred Body was effective and directly resolved all the other party's nomological power. Bang! Saturday punched back with all his strength. The terrifying power from the Power Heavenly Emperor directly deformed the other party's metal head. Then, Saturday was followed by a series of violent beatings. Every punch hit metal. Bang 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 bang. The sound of fists and metal colliding echoed between heaven and earth. Fist, foot, elbow, knee, arm. Saturday was like a god of martial arts, using his perfect martial arts skills to unleash the terrifying power of his physical body to his heart's content. Golden Brilliance's divine body twisted and deformed crazily, and soon it was deformed. The surrounding Kitotali clones and Saturday clones wanted to stop Saturday's continuous attacks, but they were stopped by Kitotali before they could get close. Kitotali was wearing a Master God Divine artifact, and his combat power was comparable to a slightly weaker Master God tier expert. In terms of defense, it could even guarantee that he would not die in a short period of time against several higher-level chief gods. Even though it was a little difficult for him to restrain the two Master God tiers, it was still possible. D****. The two Master God tier clones were furious, but they couldn't escape Kitotali's interception. They could only concentrate on fighting him. A moment later, boom! As the last punch landed, Golden Brilliance's head was smashed into metal powder by Saturday's punch. No! Golden Brilliance let out an indignant roar before he died. Then his divine body went limp and he stopped breathing. Saturday flung his arms and hoisted a sigh of relief. Saturday felt much better after beating this guy up. He even began to think that the name Saturday was actually not bad. Then, he opened his right hand and aimed his palm at the Chaos Metal God Fiend, extracting his spoils of war. Soon, the corpses of the chaotic divine demons disappeared and were replaced by 4 chaotic divine treasures. Saturday summoned the 4 chaos divine treasures and gazed at them with a smile on his face. 8 chaos divine treasures. If I do it again tomorrow, I can upgrade my territory to the true God tier elementary grade. When the time comes, I can also upgrade my divine kingdom. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day, Saturday muttered to himself. Then, he turned around and gazed at the battlefield behind him. The metal replica army had already disappeared. All the Blazing Sun Empire's armies were regrouping and waiting for Zhou Wen and Saturday's next order. Chapter 1365. Attacking the 3 races. Master God tier advanced grade weapon, Origin Spear. Return to the Empire. Saturday gave a simple order. Yes, the soldiers roared. Then, they boarded the spaceships and returned to the Blazing Sun Empire. After returning to the Blazing Sun Empire, Zhou Wen and Saturday did not stay idle. Instead, they led their soldiers to join Bai Yun's army and expanded the territory of the Blazing Sun Empire on the High Continent with her. At the same time in the active universe, the Eternal Mothership had already led the army and god spirits to the active universe yesterday. It had handed over all the soldiers, god spirits and treasures to Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu. With the Eternal Mothership and the Supreme God Realm treasure, it would be much more convenient for them to hide themselves, launch sneak attacks, escape, and chase enemies in the active universe. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu heaved a sigh of relief when they saw the Eternal Mothership. With the Eternal Mothership and the Supreme God Realm treasure, it would be much more convenient for them to hide themselves, launch sneak attacks, escape, and chase enemies in the active universe. After putting the skin of Gadalos on the Eternal Mothership, they immediately prepared to attack the Radiant Angel race, the Immortal Spirit race, and the descendant of the God Spirit race. Reporting to Your Majesty, this is the information on the 3 races. The Heavenly Map Army has already gathered it. Wu Tu said respectfully. Open it. Zhou Fight said. Yes, Your Majesty. Wu Tu said respectfully. Then, he opened his personal terminal and projected all the information they had gathered on the large screen of the conference room and the personal terminal projections of all the generals present. Zhou Fight and the rest looked over. Then he raised his eyebrows slightly. According to the report, after the Radiant Angel race, the Immortal Spirit race, and the descendant of the God Spirit race joined forces, their overall military strength had already reached an astonishing level. Among them, the Radiant Angel race alone had more than 8 capital unit soldiers, more than 21 million Radiant Angel race God spirits, more than 2,000 Radiant Angel race true God tiers, and 5 Radiant Angel race master God tiers. The Immortal Spirit race had a total of 5 capital unit soldiers, more than 15 million Immortal Spirit race God spirits, more than 2,500 true God tiers, and 8 master God tiers. The descendant of the God Spirit race had more than 8 capital unit soldiers, more than 29 million descendant of the God Spirit race God spirits, more than 3,000 Radiant Angel Race True God Tiers, and 2 Radiant Angel Race Master God Tiers. They added up to an astonishing number of soldiers from the 21 capital units, more than 65 million God Spirits, more than 7,500 True God Tiers, and 15 Master Gods. Apart from that, there were also a large number of war puppets, war formations, war machines, war spaceships, and various other war treasures with terrifying combat strength. Such strength, the generals present could not help but be surprised. The Blazing Sun Empire's total military strength in the active universe was 8 capital units soldiers, more than 16 million God Spirits, more than 30,000 True God Tiers, and 9 Master Gods. It could be said that it was far inferior to the total military strength of these 3 races. However, at this moment, Zhou Fight knocked on the table. The enemy's strength is very clear. I have to admit that in terms of total military strength, we are indeed inferior to the other party by more than a little. But it doesn't matter. Don't forget that our soldiers are super elite soldiers with the most combat experience, the most combat skills, and are completely unafraid of death and injuries. There's no need to talk about our God Spirits. All of them are equipped with divine artifacts. I don't believe that a mere 65 million God Spirits like him can deal with our God Spirits. Therefore, this emperor has decided to defeat them head-on with our troops. This emperor and Zhou Wu will fight at the front of the army. They will break through the enemy's formation and go straight to the higher-ups of the enemy's army. Then, they will annihilate them in one go. After we annihilate them, things will be much easier. In short, victory in this war will definitely belong to us. If you have no objections, follow this emperor's plan. Zhou Fight looked at the generals and said. The generals raised their hands in agreement without hesitation. It was not just because they believed what their king said was right. They did indeed have the ability to take down the other party. Most importantly, they believed that their invincible and invincible majesty would definitely lead them to victory. Just like countless wars in the past, they would not doubt it, nor did they have any reason to doubt it. After Zhou Fight gave the order, the entire Blazing Sun Empire's army began to operate at full power. After everything was prepared, they immediately flew at full speed toward the allied forces of the 3 races, 150,000 light-years away from them. A moment later, the Eternal Mothership quietly arrived less than 10 million kilometers away from the allied army. At this moment, because the Eternal Mothership was covered with the skin of Godillos, even though they were so close, the gods and radars of the 3 races still did not discover the location of the Eternal Mothership. 0. Give our enemy 10 shots of the Origin Spear first. Zhou Fight said with a smile when he saw that the 3 races did not notice anything. The Origin Spear. The Master God Tier Advanced Grade Mechanical Weapon on the Eternal Mothership. It was one of the crystallizations of the highest technological civilization of the Machina race. By striking a singularity in the space where the enemy was, the singularity would quickly collapse inwards. At the same time, it would attract and pull everything within a diameter of 1 trillion light-years, from 3-dimensional to 2-dimensional, then from 2-dimensional to 1-dimensional, and finally collapse into the singularity, returning to the origin of the universe. It could be said that one singularity bullet of the Origin Spear was enough to destroy the boundless universe created by the Master God Tier. If it landed on a Master God Tier, there was an 80% chance that it could directly kill him. Machina Master God Tier 0 was able to become one of the top 10 Master Gods thanks to the Origin Spear. However, what corresponded to his might was that the difficulty of creating the Origin Spear was extremely high. Even the founder of the Machina Master God, 0, probably did not have more than 100 origin guns, and Zhou's Eternal Mothership only carried 10 origin guns. Yes, Your Majesty, 0's cold voice sounded. Then, 10 black spears quickly appeared on the 10 tallest silver-white gun towers at the top of the Eternal Mothership. Each of them was more than 100 meters long, and there were all kinds of high-tech machinery on them. They looked very complicated in science fiction. Command: activate all origin spears. Objective: break through the enemy's protective shield, and cause maximum damage to the enemy, reducing the number of enemies. Locking and accumulating energy. 9, 8, 7. Wisps of 7-colored light condensed at the muzzle of the origin spear, and finally turned into a ball of light the size of a fist. The energy inside was compressed to the extreme, and emitted 7-colored light. It was clearly formed from energy, but at this moment, it looked like it was solid. 1. Fire. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. 10 colorful balls of light shot out and crossed tens of millions of kilometers in an instant, landing on the protection of the 3 races. Chapter 1366. Great Battle. The 10 singularity bullets silently landed on the protection of the army of the 3 races. When the surrounding space began to collapse and countless armies of the 3 races died under the origin spear, the 3 races finally realized that they had been ambushed. Who is it? Boom, 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 boom. Streaks of shocking aura soared into the sky, followed by Master God-level powerhouses flying out one after another. In total, there were 15 Master God powerhouses. Then, they saw the scene of their army being devoured by the 10 singularity bullets of the origin spear. D***. Let's work together to stop these things. A Master God of the Radiant Angel race shouted. Then, together with the other 14 Master Gods, they activated their divine power and covered the range of the 10 singularity bullets. Under the joint efforts of these 15 Master Gods, the range and strength of these 10 bullets finally obtained a certain degree of control. They even began to shrink inwards. Even so, in just a few dozen seconds, hundreds of trillions of soldiers, and a small number of God spirits and true God tiers, had died under these 10 singularity bullets. The Master Gods who discovered this only felt their hearts bleeding. That was the foundation of their race. That was the foundation of their race. Not to mention the final outcome of this competition for Venus. Just the consequences of the scene in front of them were enough for them to be scolded when they returned to their race. Who the hell is it? A Master God of the descendant of the God Spirit clan was furious. A Master God of the immortal spirit race pondered for a moment. As he continued to control the range of the 10 bullets, he looked at the surrounding starry sky and said coldly, Azure Emperor. Since you've already made your move, there's no need to sneak around. Azure Emperor? He actually dared to take the initiative to look for me. The other Master Gods of the descendant of the God Spirit race said in disbelief. I knew it was that guy. In this active universe, only the bold Azure Emperor would dare to take the initiative to find us when our 3 races are working together. A Master God of the Radiant Angel race said. At the same time, just as the 15 Master Gods of the people of foreign races were searching for the Azure Emperor, Zhou Fight was inside the Eternal Mothership, looking at the 15 people of foreign race Master Gods from afar. Through Heart Pirate's ability, he quickly knew what treasures he had on him, and who Regal Soul Heaven's divine bone was on. Deputy Patriarch of the Radiant Angel race Galna has a divine bone of Regal Soul Heaven. The strongest expert of the immortal spirit race, the Mystic Heaven Lord, also has one. There's also the Patriarch of the descendant of the God Spirit, the 9 Saint King. He also has one. TSK, they're all big shots. Zhou Fight chuckled. Following that, he attempted to steal and discovered that he didn't succeed. This Regal Soul Heaven's divine bone was indeed magical. Not only could it block his 10,000 Spirit Saint effect, but it could also block his Mind Thief effect. However, Zhou understood. Regal Soul Heaven had almost become a will-level Lord Nomological Cultivator when he was alive. Regal Soul Heaven had almost become a will-level Lord Nomological Cultivator when he was alive. It would be strange if the Lord Talent effect he used could affect his relic. This was a true suppression of levels after all. Give him another round of Origin Spears, Zhou ordered. Each shot of the Origin Spear's singularity bullets required 10 Master God tier advanced grade divine crystals. However, compared to the outcome of the war, these consumptions did not matter. As long as he could defeat the allied army of the 3 races, He could easily gain 10 times, 100 times, or even more. Yes, Your Majesty, Zero said respectfully. Then, without hesitation, he charged another 10 origin spears and steered the Eternal Mothership in another direction. Finally, he aimed at the undefended position of the 15 supremacies and fired another 10 origin spear bullets. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Then, he charged another 10 origin spears and steered the Eternal Mothership in another direction without hesitation. Finally, he aimed at the undefended position of the 15 Master Gods and fired another 10 origin spear bullets. The 10 bullets from the origin spear easily broke through the protection barrier and shot into the Alliance army, almost without any resistance. They turned into 10 bullets that crazily devoured and tore everything within a radius of 1 trillion light years. In the blink of an eye, trillions of troops, hundreds of god spirits, and 5 true god tiers perished under the devouring of the singularity. Moreover, this number was still increasing at an astonishing speed. When the 15 master gods of the 3 races saw this scene, they felt their eyes widen. I remember now. This is the Machina Master God's origin spear. I've seen it before in the battle, where he ascended to becoming top 10 master gods. We must do our best to stop the erosion of these weapons. Otherwise, if we sit back and do nothing, more than half of the army we brought will probably die. The descendant of the god spirit patriarch shouted. Hearing this, the expressions of the other master gods changed drastically. The Machina Master God was the one who created this terrifying weapon. No wonder it was so powerful. They did not dare to delay, and immediately diverted a portion of their strength to stop the erosion and expansion of the singularity. Just as the allied forces of the 3 races were busy fending for themselves, an incomparably huge and majestic cosmic battleship slowly appeared in the air, and appeared in front of the people of foreign races. It was the Eternal Mothership. The upper echelons of the Radiant Angel race and other races were shocked when they saw such a behemoth appear in front of them. The giant ship was so close to them, and they only noticed it now? What kind of warship was this? Could it be a Supreme God Realm battleship? In the next second, more than 8 soldiers from capital units, more than 16 million god spirits, more than 3,000 true god tiers, and 9 lord gods flew out of the Eternal Mothership. Zhou Feit and Zhou Wu, who were in the lead, smiled when they saw the broken protection shield of the opposing alliance army. Then the smile turned extremely cold. Kill, he ordered. As soon as he finished speaking, all the soldiers and god spirits charged towards the other party. Zhou Wen and Zhou Zhan immediately turned into 2 9-colored streams of light and flew towards the 15 master gods. The Azure Emperor is coming. Be careful. Master God Kalna reminded. The other master gods did not dare to be careless. What a joke. The Skeleton Tribe and the 6-armed War Demon Tribe were both high-level bloodline races that were not inferior to them. However, they were easily destroyed by the Azure Emperor. How could they dare to underestimate such an enemy? At this moment, Zhou Feit had already arrived in front of the Deputy Patriarch of the Radiant Angel race, Kalna. He took out the Xian Yuan Divine Sword and slashed. This strike contained all the power of the Myriad Method Star Palm. Kalna felt an extremely terrifying sense of danger. His expression changed drastically as he immediately raised a holy golden shield. This was one of the foundations of the Radiant Angel race, a Master God tier advanced grade divine artifact Holy Radiant Shield. It was left behind by the first Radiant Angel King, and had always been regarded as a treasure by the Radiant Angel race. He had unparalleled defensive abilities and the ability to kill evil. Therefore, he was the #1 combat divine artifact of the Radiant Angel race. (1367) Great Battle. When Zhou Feit saw this Master God tier advanced grade divine artifact, a sinister smile appeared on his face. Boom! The Xian Yuan Divine Sword struck the holy shield of light. Cracking sounds could be heard. Something shocking happened to Kalna. The Radiant Angel race regarded the Radiant Holy Shield as the #1 defensive treasure and the #1 offensive treasure. Under Zhou Wen's attack, it actually produced a crack that was visible to the naked eye. Traces of divine light leaked out from it, indicating that this Master God tier advanced grade divine artifact already had a problem with the leakage of its origin divine power. If it was not repaired quickly, its grade might even decrease. Zhou Fight did not care what Cao Na was thinking. He slashed out again, and again with his usual expression. As a divine sword, it was actually being used by Zhou Wen as a saber, pouring out his unparalleled strength. Cao Na tried to retaliate. However, his counterattack was so laughable in the face of Zhou Wen's terrifying nomological suppression and power suppression. Occasionally, a few attacks were lucky enough to land on Zhou Fight's body. Zhou Fight also looked indifferent, making Cao Na feel even more despair. His attack was invincible, and his defense was unparalleled. How were they supposed to fight? At this moment, the other 4 Radiant Angel Race Master God tiers, and the 4 Immortal Spirit Race Master God tiers, immediately flew over to help after seeing Cao Na being attacked. Come on, let me see what you've got. Not only was Zhou Fight not afraid, he even laughed wildly. The Supreme Sacred Body directly gave birth to 3 heads and 6 arms with a thought from him. Each of the 6 arms held a Master God tier advanced grade divine artifact. Just like that, he fought 9 people head-on, and was not at a disadvantage. At the same time, Zhou Marshall's side did not fall behind either. The target he had found was the Immortal Spirit Race's Mystic Heaven Lord. As one of the strongest experts in the immortal world, the Mystic Heaven Lord was good at using a divine cauldron. With a cauldron in hand, the Mystic Heaven Lord's attack and defense in the immortal world were unparalleled. He had almost never met a worthy opponent other than the 10 Master Gods. Until he met Zhou Marshall. Relying on the powerful defense of the Supreme Sacred Body and the invincible strength of the Power Heavenly Emperor, Zhou Marshall punched the surface of his divine cauldron again and again. Even if the divine cauldron could 100% reflect the external attacks onto the enemy, Zhou Marshall did not care at all. On the other hand, Mystic Heaven Lord, who was in the divine cauldron, was shocked by Zhou Marshall's punches. His divine body almost collapsed as he revealed a shocked expression. Where did the Azure Emperor get such a powerful helper? Just the methods displayed in front of him made he feel that he was not inferior to the Master God of Light, Hilu, who had once defeated him. Hurry up and help, he shouted at the 3 Master Gods who were still in a daze. When the other Master Gods heard this, they glanced at the 7 Master Gods of the Mortal Empire, who were eyeing them covetously. Hesitation appeared on their faces. Since they had gone to help, wouldn't the remaining Master Gods of the Mortal Empire be able to kill wantonly in their army? This was a total of 7 High Lords. If they were allowed to kill, as long as there was enough time, they could even annihilate the army they brought. However, they could not think too much about it. This was because they had seen that the helper that the Azure Emperor had invited had actually beaten up the strongest expert of the Immortal Spirit Race, Mystic Heaven Lord, several times. His intrinsic divine cauldron was also about to be shattered by the other party. Once Mystic Heaven Lord's intrinsic divine cauldron was lost, he would almost certainly die. Master Gods were still more important than ordinary soldiers. Therefore, they charged at Zhou Marshall together. In the blink of an eye, there were also 6 Master Gods surrounding Zhou Marshall. However, he was naturally not afraid at all. He directly fought against 6 of them. At the same time, the other 7 worshipped Master Gods of the Blazing Sun Empire had originally wanted to support Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu. However, a voice transmission from Zhou Fight stopped them. You guys go help the army. Don't worry about us. Let us stretch our muscles with these guys. Hence, they temporarily watched from the sidelines and did not help Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu. It was only when they saw that Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu could not only fight against a crowd alone, but could even suppress them, when fighting against a crowd alone, that they completely relaxed. While they marveled at His Majesty's combat power, they turned around to deal with the allied forces. Be it the number of troops, the number of god spirits, or the number of true god tier, the other party far exceeded them. Their edge lay in the quality of their soldier types and their external equipment. With these 2 points, they could fight to a draw with the other party. And after the 7 high gods joined, it could increase their chances of victory. At the same time, after Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu experimented with the strength of their supreme sacred body, they could not help but feel very satisfied. The supreme sacred body was indeed the #1 cultivation technique of the myriad races. Just cultivating to the elementary grade of Master God tier was enough to make him invincible in the Master God tier realm. Moreover, this was only its most basic ability. This made Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu look forward to the future of this constitution even more. Then, Zhou Fight looked at the Radiant Angel Race's Master God Kauna, who was besieging him. He teleported in front of Kauna and grabbed her by the neck. At the same time, he used his Lord's Law to suppress Kauna's Master God tier Light Law and Master God tier Holy Law. Gore! Kauna struggled with all his might. But he, who could not use any strength, was no different from a chick to Zhou Fight. Experiment complete. I'm not playing with you anymore, Zhou Fight said. Then, he directly injected his divine power into Kauna's chest and crushed her divine spark. At the same time, he used his will, which was close to the will divine transformation realm, to destroy her will. Kauna died on the spot. Rumble. From the moment the other Master God tier saw Kauna being strangled by Zhou Fight until Kauna's death, they had been desperately attacking Zhou Fight. However, Zhou Fight, who had the supreme sacred body, was like an indestructible city wall. No matter what method they used to assault Zhou Fight, it did not affect he at all. In fact, it could not even break the internal armor of the Master Divine artifact he was wearing. They looked at Zhou Fight as if they had seen a ghost. Could this guy be a Supreme God Realm expert? Why do the attacks of top Master God tier, like us, seem to have no effect on him? Meanwhile, Zhou Fight had already taken away Kauna's world ring and taken out Regal Soul Heaven's divine bone. He glanced at Zhou Marshall and realized that Zhou Marshall had also killed Mystic Heaven Lord and taken away all the treasures on he, as well as the other divine bone of Regal Soul Heaven. Then, they looked at the last God Spirit of the people of foreign races in the distance. From the descendant of the God Spirit clan's patriarch, 9 Saint True King. The 9 Saint True King trembled in fear after being condensed by these two ferocious gods. He could clearly see that the two top-notch Master God tier powerhouses who were not inferior to him were instantly killed after the other party became serious. If he dared to go against the other party, wouldn't he perish in minutes? As for the Master God's edge in numbers, he had seen the quantity, but didn't see any advantages. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate to take out the last divine bone of Regal Soul Heaven and hurriedly beg for mercy. Azure Emperor, don't kill me. Isn't this what you want? I'll give it to you. In addition, I'm also willing to participate the mortal empire and become its worshipped Master God. Please spare my life, Azure Emperor. Zhou Fight and Zhou Wu were stunned. Then, they looked at each other and smiled. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.